What's up? What's up? What's up? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Me and the Homies podcast. I'm your host, Tayo. Today I'm with the homies from the After5ive Podcast, N8-B and Acee. What's up, y'all?
Yeah.
What up?
How y'all been?
Living.
My best life.
Barely. Still not going back and forth with you niggas.
Still.
Still. Well, I appreciate y'all joining me. This is episode 2, so I'm excited to have y'all here. Y'all like podcast veterans now.
Man, veteran is an extreme. That's
The vet, not the pet.
You
The
feel
vet,
me?
not the pet.
Like, still in the rookie season, but, definitely got some games under the belt. You feel me? In the podcast game.
You ugly as hell.
You know what I'm saying?
But look, before I get too off task, let's start off with the drink of the day. Nate, what you got us drinking on?
Uncle Nearest.
What?
Uncle Nearest.
Are you like up? Ray is like, my fiance is a huge fan of Uncle Nearest. Are you like up on their like history and stuff?
I am, and how I even came to learn anything about it is one of my old heads is his nephew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he was posting about it, put it in like the chapter group. It was like, you get opportunity to support because it goes back and, all that good stuff.
So for the listeners who don't know, Uncle Nearest is I don't remember if he was a slave or a sharecropper, but
I think he transitioned. He was a slave, and then I believe he transitioned into a sharecropper.
so he was actually the black man who taught Jack Daniels everything he knows about whiskey. And years later, of course, a black historian, he came into the relationship with Jack Daniels and told them, she wanted to take on Uncle Nearest, I don't know his last name, his story, and put out there for the world. And they did that through giving him his own whiskey. And I think they have a pretty good relationship with that Jack Daniels company, because I feel like they helped them get things going. And the money goes back to the descendants of Uncle Nearest.
Yep.
So it helps his descendants who are in college. Part of the money goes to their tuition. And one of the students, I don't know who it is, but one of the students goes to UTC or recently graduated. I know when I first looked it up, they went to UTC.
I believe Caleb.
Word? That's crazy.
Yeah, I believe so. I know her uncle.
We put our full name out there.
I know her uncle is Jeff Vance. So that's how I know the story. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then what else we have? We have that blue stuff. What is it?
Alex, pronounce the shit because I don't know.
Mean to me, nigga.
I don't know.
I looked at the bottle and just read what I saw. I don't know.
Blue Carac.
Right. If you're looking for this drink, you go to the liquor store, and it's gonna be the only blue bottle with a black dude just
smiling big as
I
hell.
was looking at something, bro. I should not put this in my drink. This don't look like it's a move.
Yeah, but they use it in like drinks like the Blue Hawaiian or Hawaiian Surfers.
Did y'all have blue motherfuckers when have y'all ever had those?
Yeah.
Is that a Nashville thing or is that a thing? Like,
I think it's a thing,
okay.
but I'm from a Nashville surrounding area,
Oh,
so
true,
I don't know.
Y'all have blue motherfuckers in Memphis?
I don't even know what you even
I
read.
think that's like a ratchet Nashville.
They got rusty 45s and first 48 in that.
I have no
Memphis.
clue what's a blue motherfucker, but if you're in a ratchet club in Nashville,
It is beyond me.
if
I'm
you
clueless.
if you're ever in Limelight or any other ratchet facility in Nashville, you're gonna look around and see several people with blue cups.
And I believe that's what's in there.
Yeah,
It's like a sweetener, a non-high fructose corn syrup having sweetener.
Sugar.
Yeah, straight sugar. Yeah, and then Sprite. If you need your high
And
fructose
then-
corn syrup, there you go.
And so as usual, I'll rate the drink at the end of the show. Let's go ahead and hop into the top 5. Today's top 5 is your top 5 one-hit wonders. Either one, do you have a volunteer to start?
I want to start, man. So
I volunteer Alex for tribute.
I didn't want to talk about this earlier, but I wanted to hear what you guys thought. What do you consider a one-hit wonder?
I mean, me personally, a one-hit wonder, not necessarily has to just be one song. I just look at it as like you had a moment. Like you had a moment in hip hop, where either you had a song that was popping, you might have had 2 songs that was popping. Maybe, at the most, maybe you had an album that had like some singles on there that was popping. But then following that, you were done. You know what I'm saying?
If they have a good album and then we never hear from them.
See, but I'm not saying a good album.
Oh, you mean
you just like you had an album, like I'm gonna say, for example, Chingy, who's not on my list, but it's like Chingy, had a run of songs that were very popular. I would consider Chingy a one-hit wonder, even though he had more than one hit, because he just had a collection of songs around.
That literally goes against the definition of a one-hit wonder.
I mean, I'm just saying, it's like, I mean, I know that, if we want to talk semantics, one hit is what is that? Is one hit. But it's like, bro, I mean, for the purpose of the conversation and for the purpose of my list, I just, niggas who had a moment who couldn't produce another moment.
See, for me, I say a one-hit wonder. You're gonna have that one song that's huge and everybody knows it and it's everywhere, and so obviously you get that second shot. Now, if that second one you miss, to me, you're a one-hit wonder.
But if you hit though,
I slick. I give you a little bit of credit.
a little bit of
credit. You know what I mean? Like Fetty. Well, I'm not. Fetty Wap's not a one-hit wonder to me. I don't know if I'm stepping on anybody's list.
I wouldn't consider him one hit to me. I feel like he had.
Now he's in a drought right now.
Yeah, that's what I look at it as.
He is in a drought.
But he could easily come back.
My nigga just signed a Treyway.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I mean, that just means he's gonna troll.
That just
because he has one with him already. I don't really fuck with like that.
Yeah, I don't listen to 6ix9ine, so
nah, I ain't gonna lie, say that.
I will tell the truth and say I don't listen to that nigga.
I don't know, I don't know what he be saying, but he get me hype.
I can't fuck with it, but
ain't nothing funnier than hearing somebody talk like super hype and be super savage, and then seeing the videos and that little New York dance they be doing, and seeing the niggas dancing like that in the middle of the video is hilarious.
Have you seen that Twitter clip of the dude where he got this thug ass on, but he dropping down, getting his eagle on?
I don't know. But to have a video shoot, have people there, somebody's shooting the video, somebody's editing the video, and somebody's and nobody told you, this ain't it, chief. Like, bro, you gotta surround yourself.
That is not it.
Run with that shit.
But the crazy part of it is he don't even look like he just look like a hood nigga doing some wild shit, bro.
That shit just gets you so off guard. Like, is he twerking? Like,
and he continues to do it, bro. It's like if you drop it down one time, I could be like, you know what? Maybe he got a little too excited. Forgot where he was at. My nigga dropped it down like 3-4 times, bro.
I was like, hey, get up.
But kept a mug on his face, bro. I was like,
kept rapping and all.
Yeah, I was like, man, ain't no nigga finna drop down and get his eagle on and shoot me.
Yeah, no. Oh yeah. Let's get back on it. My bad. AC, what is your top 5 one-hit wonders?
All right, man. So no specific order, man. I any top 5 is hard for me to do an order, but number 1 on my list, Jaquan. I mean, I know that that's gonna be on some list. I mean, cause we all know Jaquan. I mean, everybody in the club getting tipsy. Now, Hood Hop
was hard. Hood Hop was hard.
You know what I'm saying? That's why when I was prefacing my list, like a nigga could have 2, cause Hood Hop was a hit.
Yeah, I liked Hood Hop.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, so next I got Shop Boys.
I don't even know.
Totally do.
Oh, okay.
Party like a rock. I mean, bro. Okay, so the summer I moved to Memphis, bro, the summer of 2007, Party Like a Rock Star came on the radio. It's like every other song. I'm like, bro, I can't even turn 97.1 on.
What's the group's name?
Shop Boys. Bro.
Like
Shop Boys. SHOP. Yeah.
Shop Boys.
And let me tell you, bro, I don't even remember the DJ name, but he used to do mixtapes at UTC, and my sister went to UTC in like that, like 06 to 08.
Was it Tula?
Maybe so. That sounds familiar. And I remember I came up here to visit her, bro, and her friends was getting ready to go somewhere. And I was like, what is this song that they keep fucking listening to, bro? Because, shit always hit like colleges before it really popped on the radio.
Especially back then.
Man, we got back to, little old Columbia where we listened to the Nashville radio station. And they dropped a shot. I was like, boy, this is my shit. I was totally duding the hell out there.
Hey, that was a hit, bro. So Sharp Boys. Now my next one, you know, this one may be controversial. It may be controversial, but I have down Player Circle. Now look. Now we know Titty Boy is obviously, you know, went on to do his thing. But as a group, I mean, come on. If a nigga can name another Player Circle song than Duffel Bag Boy, then I mean you was a stan. I mean, because there's no way a regular nigga would know another song by that group.
I'm 1,000% right there with
You know.
Like I
Me
can't
too.
even remember dude's name.
Me too.
Dollar, right?
I
Only
do
nigga
remember 2 Chainz saying
only
dollar.
nigga-
2 Chainz.
only thing I ever
and,
knew was
I remember 2 Chainz saying dollar, but I didn't know that was the other dude's name.
I want to say it was Dollar. I could be wrong, man. Niggas could be listening to this like this dumbass nigga.
Of course,
Nah,
it was such
but,
a,
yeah, but you know, Player Circle. I mean, Duffel Bag. That was it. Next on my list, I have Bone Crusher. So I'm outside of the club, and you think I'm a punk.
hey, the remix was hard
It was.
Hey,
with mine.
that Atlanta movement was just ridiculous. But yeah, shout out Bone Crusher. And then last I have GS Boys. Do the stanky leg.
True.
I mean, yeah, I mean, definitely a one-hit wonder. I don't think they should be on the top 5 anything.
Bruh, the fact that a song named Stanky Leg rose to prominence the way it did, respect from AC, man. That's all I gotta say, man. Cause the first time I heard this shit on the radio, I thought it was like, you know, like a little prank song that the radio was doing, like
some type of parody.
you know, yeah, like some, you know. And then I heard it again somewhere, and I was like, damn. Then, you know, I was out at a party and I seen niggas hitting that hoe, and I was like, wow, this is real life.
A room full of
Like this is fact. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a thing. So yeah, for that reason, they do round out my top 5, man. So yeah.
That's fair.
Okay.
Maybe what you got?
In the spirit of not doing repeats, because I hate when folks do top 5s
I'm
and
for
it.
sure
You definitely gonna do the repeats.
This hard not to.
I can't. I created a top 10. It was like, bro, if somebody takes something out of my top 5, I'm gonna just, you feel me, scoot that
Roll
next
with
one
the
up.
punches.
But if we keeping track, Player Circle was on mine, as was Tipsy. But my new top 5 is Kaya.
Yeah, that's one for sure.
What is that? My neck, my back.
My
Yeah.
neck, my back.
And she has
My
really
neck in my back.
made a full career out of that one song.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Next up, and this is not in any particular order. Mims.
This is why I'm. No, is that this is why I'm hot?
This is why I'm hot. Next up, I got Boys in the Hood.
Yeah,
Them
that was my
boys.
like 6. Yeah, that was my
Them
number
boys.
6.
Next up, I got the Baja Men.
What?
Do
What's
you
that?
remember when we was
who let the dogs
we
out?
was in elementary school, bro? Who let the dogs out? Dominated the charts. And then rounding out the 5th, it was kind of a tie because these are 2 iconic songs. I got 69 Boys, Tootsie Roll,
Oh yeah.
and then Cupid Shuffle.
All those like party songs are
Yeah.
one-hit wonders. Because you got the Skating Rink song. I have no clue who sings that.
Whoop, there it is.
No. The one they just remixed and did the Running Man thing with. Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Skating
I
around
was thinking,
song.
but it's way too high and it's gonna sound off.
Nah, give it to us, bro. We can throw some
bro.
auto tune on
bro.
it.
Yeah,
Put some
bro.
reverb
Yeah,
on
We
it.
can throw some auto tune.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like they don't have any other music, do they? Well, we don't know who it is.
Wait, what was that again? Can you sing it one more
No,
time?
you're definitely the first.
I think if you sung it one more time.
For my top 5, I had Player Circle as well. Like, I mean, that is the only song they've ever had. And really, the hit is being generous because that's a Wayne hit.
I mean, but it was a hit though.
It
you know,
was.
and I
And
mean, I
and
feel
fuck
like
with
you know,
2
Tucci.
Chainz.
Yeah, he came on
Yeah.
hard, bro. You know.
Bro, then I got the Young Guns, Can't Stop, Won't Stop,
Okay.
City High. What Would
I
You
almost
Do?
did that.
Which
I
one, Young
almost did
Guns?
Young Guns and City High.
Yeah. City High, what would you do? There were those who had their input and said that City High had more than one hit. Okay.
I mean, what would that be?
Right. Then we have Mark Morrison's Return to Mac.
True. True.
And Wayne Wonder, No Letting Go. To close out my top 5.
I'm getting in your old nigga bag.
Yeah.
Bruh, y'all ain't fucking No Letting Go when y'all was kids?
Getting your old nigga bag.
Y'all tripping. That was that shit.
I wasn't even born, man.
Honorable mention. Shit. If I wouldn't have said
Nigga,
that
be
shit.
ready. Be ready so you ain't gotta get ready.
I'm
nigga.
like, damn, bro. My phone locked,
Man
bro.
came in hot as hell.
My phone locked.
And they had shit to
Mambo
say.
number 5.
What?
You remember the Mambo number 5?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
I'm not finna sing this shit.
Bro,
Mambo number
y'all
5?
niggas prideful.
Yes,
you
bruh.
better sing that shit.
No.
Alex ain't saying shit. Keep telling niggas to sing.
Sing that shit. If I need to sing some shit, I will do it.
Cause you can actually sing.
See, I hate when niggas say shit like that.
The a little bit of something in my life.
Oh.
Yeah.
I would never can't guess.
Yeah. But see, I tell you what made me think about it, bruh.
Matilda?
And you no, bruh.
Oh. That's the only, I think it's the only way I know that shit.
No, bruh. Do you remember when the Titans went to the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
And they remixed that song
No,
and
I don't
put
remember that.
all of the players' names in it. It was running on like News Channel 2, 4, and 5.
I like to remember my legends in their best light. And that clearly is not it. I don't remember that at all. And I'm not going to research that. That
Yes,
sounds
bro.
terrible.
Yes, bro. I remember because, I was in elementary school and shit. So when the Titans was going to the Super Bowl, nigga, the whole Tennessee was hyped.
Yeah.
So News Channel 2 came down because we made like this big banner and all this other stuff. And that was the song they played.
That's terrible. So kind of a perfect segue to this is just like these random, music discussions. Revolt, who I shitted on last week, I guess, decided to step it up. And now they've started their State of the Culture with Joe Budden. Have y'all checked it out?
Yeah.
What do y'all think about
I've seen a little bit of it.
You seen the 30-second promo clicks on Instagram?
That's all they do.
I've seen a little bit of it.
Alex don't have cable.
So Nate, what did you think
I
about
do
it?
not.
I like it. I think they 2 episodes in. I like the panel. I think last week Jinx showed me something. Jinx showed a little bit more heart.
Jinx, so I've been
He
watching
showed
Jinx.
more heart last week. You feel me? I think the first week he was trying to fill it out. The only issue I foresee down the road is I think Scotty Beam is playing really nice right now.
Yeah, being chill.
And when she pipes up and
She-
Remy pipes up,
Is Scotty Beam aggressive like that normally? I'm not familiar with her.
I'm not gonna say she's normally aggressive, but she can get there. She can definitely she can get there. And I think you saw glimpses of it because she was like a diehard like Kanye stan, because she went through a period of time in her life where she was like recluse when she was in college, and because she went to Clark.
Oh wow.
So she went from like New York, living, how you live in New York,
Right.
and then came down south, and then she just went through like
Culture shock.
yeah, she did a lot of fighting and shit like that.
wow.
Damn,
So
man,
at
you be
certain
reading
points-
bios and shit, don't you? I mean, this nigga be having so much information on this.
So at certain points, she said she would recluse, so she would just play certain songs over and over and over again. And Kanye and Kid Cudi kind of
two
helped her
people.
get through that. So
Okay.
she has an affinity, especially for Kanye. So when you saw, I think it was the first episode when they like really went in on Kanye and shit. That's why she got so hyped. But I could see she was trying to chill because I mean, if you had to pick a list of 5 people to pipe up with on a panel, I'm not trying to go against Remy Ma. Like,
So, I mean, my biggest takeaway is I don't fuck with Remy Ma, bro. Like, she is terrible. She is awful. Bro, it's basically like, bro, Jinx, I feel for him, bro. Like, I really feel for him because it's just those conversations like when you're in a barbershop and you're trying to make like just a logical argument or statement with somebody who clearly doesn't, isn't all there. And,
BX all day.
and they just so crunk. and then those are always the people that everybody like gasses. Joe being there just gassing. I'm like, she's wrong.
Cause she's mad aggressive.
Bro, like, I don't remember if it was this week or last week, but she was just like really standing on the like black people don't protest. We don't like.
Yes,
Jinx was
black
trying
people. The black people protest. We don't care about how white people view our protests.
Well, for one, like Jinx was just really trying to explain to her, like, the target audience behind Black Lives Matter is not black people. Like, even like, no matter how you feel, if you don't think black people value themselves enough, that's not who the target audience is for that. We, in general, know that our lives matter.
Yeah.
And she just was like, no, we don't. And I'm like, okay. All right. We have a disconnect. We clearly have a disconnect. Then she was just like, you don't see us they not protesting Timbaland. They not protesting Tommy Hilfiger. I was like, all right, okay. I already see where we're at. Both of those rumors have been debunked for a decade now. Like both.
Oh, they was talking about them like they was fact. Yeah, and Joe was like, yeah. I just got back on the Tommy Hilfiger wave.
I'm like, dog, y'all know this is like
my nigga.
Years ago, we decided, yeah, that never happened. Bro was like, I've never. They said he said Tommy Hilfiger said, I don't like when black people wear my clothes
because it lessens the value.
It lessens the value. He said on Oprah. He came on Oprah's show and said, "This is my first time ever being on here. Like I'm honored to be here." But
and he was like, "I know. I've heard what you niggas been saying in the streets, and I just want to let you know, I did not say that shit."
And I'm just like, yeah, but the real issue is. Remy has that like overly aggressive, dominant personality
all day, every day,
and she's by far the least experienced person just in this arena.
Yeah.
So it's just, she's just gonna have to really humble herself and be like, all right, I need to learn, and I don't see that happening. And Joe be putting a battery in her back every week, so I'm just like,
that's literally why he chose her.
Yeah, so I'm like,
that's what he want to do.
But see, I think she plays a certain role in that because she the only person who Joe know he can't overtalk, and if he say some fuck shit, if it sound like fuck shit to your average Bronx nigga, Remy gonna say, "Oh, you bugging?
Stupid.
Are you dumb?
Don't call me stupid, dog."
Yeah, I'll be like, hold on, chill.
Bro, then so like she made a point, and Jinx had a completely valid point. That a completely valid stance that he was debating her with, and she didn't try and deprove his point at all. Mm-hmm. Deprove is definitely not a word. I'm 2 for 2.
Yeah, we
I was gonna let you cook.
Yeah, we rolling with it.
She tried to debunk it, or she didn't try and debunk it at all. She just was like, you just sound like somebody who's never experienced nothing. Mm-hmm. You just sound like a privileged nigga. Like you just don't. And he was just like, bro, like, why would you even come for me like that? Like, I was just like, that wasn't even necessary. It wasn't even it wasn't like you talking about gun toting and stuff. It was like talking about being discriminated as a black person. Like, I'm sure he's experienced that at some point in his life.
And then he had to get in his bag. Like, you don't know how many people I done lost over this shit.
Like, what?
You know that's gonna
so
Jinx is like mad at this point.
But I fuck with Jinx. I was like, bro, I feel for dude. Like, this is gonna be long. It's gonna be stressful every day going in there. Trying to talk to Joe Budden and Remy Ma about logic.
Yeah, you cannot be logical with two people like that. They won't accept that.
That's why half the time you just see Scotty Beam just over there, like her facial expressions tells you how this conversation's gonna go.
She just be out of something. She's like, yeah, this is bullshit. I'm not talking. But with all that stuff, and that's something that we want to talk about with rap, with them being older, I'm glad to have Scotty Beam and Jinx on there because they're not young like 21 or anything, but it's good that they're younger because they can just explore the different generations of rap. And Nate, I know that's something you wanted to talk about was just how much rap has started to change over the years and just even the things that we value in rap before, like lyricism and like that shit is not at all the front runner and the most valuable parts of music anymore. And it's just crazy to see how it's changed and how it affects, society and like what the kids and people value. I don't. Where do y'all attribute that? Like when would y'all say y'all noticed that big shift?
I mean, it's like, like I hear a lot of, because obviously, there's a big conversation about, or recently that's been about mumble rap, you know what I mean? And as far as, obviously with the growth of the Migos and, the big thing about that Migos flow and things like that. But then, a lot of older heads and ones, because obviously there's a lot of older heads that be like, yo, like hip hop is done, like, you know, niggas ain't rapping no more about stuff that matters. But anybody who's actually paying attention can always say, well, you know, rap has always been, I mean, it's a spectrum of different types of rap. Like rap is one big thing, and then there's obviously subgenres of rap, if we being honest.
Right.
Like, you know, there's so many subgenres. So from the beginning of rap, there's always been rap that's, you know, not been very lyrical.
Yeah.
You know, it serves its purpose. You know, this, like, we gonna play this in the club, you know what I'm saying? This ain't for the bars, you know what I'm saying? This
Right.
this to move your feet, you know what I'm saying? And I also, you know, as time progresses, and just like any field of anything, like different things are just gonna have their stride. So, you know, at this point, you know, as far as what's popping, as far as what's popular, you know, you gonna have a stride of, you know, like I said, the Migos, or, you know, all these niggas coming out of Atlanta, you know, Gunna, you know, Future, like niggas who a lot of people really wouldn't consider that lyrical, you know, just making music that people enjoy. And then a lot of times when there's so many underground niggas now, because I mean, we know how easy it is to be a rapper now. I mean, anybody could go by the mic, you know what I'm saying, put the shit down, put it online, and you a rapper. And I think in the underground world, there's a lot of lyrical niggas, and there's a lot of niggas that's like really good. And then when these people are not recognized, people just like shit on the rap game. They just like, well, you know, you got these people who are so good, you know, and we just praising, you know, niggas like 6ix9ine and this like that, you know, rap is done. And I just think, you know, like niggas popping based on what niggas want to hear. So if niggas just trying to hear some shit to move their feet, then like that, like that's what it is. And I don't know, like niggas be so resistive to that, you know what I'm saying? But at some point, you know, you just have to embrace like what's popping. Like if the shit hard, the shit hard. You know what I'm saying? As far as it making you move your feet. Like there's different lanes. There's gonna be niggas who lyrical that's gonna be popping, who, and some niggas just find a middle ground. Like for example, like an artist like J. Cole, who is like, you know, J. Cole is not like a real lyrical dude, but you know, he do got bars, and he has a positive message for the most part, and he finds a middle ground to make his music somewhat popular. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of a sweet spot that's hard to find for, you know, a lot of people. But as far as, I guess, going back to your question, you know, generational rap and how it has progressed through the years, I don't really see that there's a big difference. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously new styles come in, cause music progresses, but I mean, just like any genre, you know, that's going to happen, and I don't really see the genre going in a downward situation. Like I just think it's just 2018, man. Like nigga, when the dancing shit was popping off, niggas was like, dog, hip hop is dead. You know what I'm saying? Nas said it, it's dead. You know what I'm saying? And even I was like, damn, like niggas really just gonna crank that Soulja Boy till, you know, the end of time. Like I guess it's just a wrap. But you know, the shit die, and then we be on some new shit. So, you know.
I think we just kind of dealing with the first real changes in us being able to really look at hip hop and rap in its entirety as a genre is still very relatively young. So I think now we're seeing the first real disconnect between the generations where there isn't really a lot of overlap. So you take, you know, the boom bap of the late 80s going into the 90s, and then you take, you know, the drug era, which is what people like to call, you know, the golden age of rap. And then immediately following that, you get into snap, like you talking about dance, what they call the ringtone music. Then we get into, you know, where basically strip club culture shaped what rap and hip hop was. So if your music could break in the strip club and strippers was fucking with it, the general public was gonna fuck with it. And then now I think we're in a space where you're having a bit of a renaissance, where you're having people who are, their sole goal is to bring lyrics back. And then you have people who are of the what they're now deeming the SoundCloud era, where, like you said, anybody can be a rapper. And I think like the internet has changed the way that we consume music, both positively and negatively. And I think the issues that we see in hip hop right now are more so due to the ease of us being able to get the music. Like we talk about 9/11 just came up. They talk about, Jay-Z dropped on 9/11. Still went platinum. Whereas now, two artists drop on the same day, depending upon, which artists people fuck with more. Motherfuckers might not even listen to that other album until, the next week. And now that fucks up, they numbers. So I think now we're in a weird space where people are trying to compare old hip hop to what we're doing now, and there's no real overlap. Like people don't really care. Like this younger generation genuinely does not give a fuck about what was done before them.
They be in interviews telling them over and over again. I don't know why they still ask them. They be like, "So how do you feel about Tupac?" I don't give a fuck about Tupac. I'm like, "Oh shit."
Exactly. Yeah. But this is a generation of people who are not lying just to sound cool. Because it's like, I know we've hit on it a couple of times on the podcast where motherfuckers, you ask somebody who they top 5 rappers are, and they just gonna say Biggie and Pac off top because that's the cool thing to say. Like, oh, you don't got Big in your top 5? Nigga, what type of nigga? Oh, you one of them new niggas. And it's like, bro, let's be very serious, bro. I was born in 91.
Oh, damn.
I'm
Big
not
dead in
like
97,
like,
95?
bro, like I'm not even gonna lie to you. I might have heard 2 Biggie. Like my parents wasn't listening to that shit. Parents was listening to Babyface. Like, I didn't get into that rap music shit until I was really old. Till my sister was old enough to put me on the rap shit. Like that's just me being real. And then, like we said, we're in the South, so what we heard was what we heard. If we heard New York or what they like to call the golden age of hip hop shit, it was because it was what made mainstream, and we got it like 2 months after it was hot, and we could listen to it. Dolo White and Scooby dropped the stupid exclusive, you feel me? And we hear the new shit 2 months later.
Right.
Like,
I mean, to me, I think now just being at an age where I've been able to be the young person that older people just hating on what you listen to. And now I'm being older to where I'm like, okay, this is trash. I realize that basically you're always going to have a generation or a group that's just going to be like, okay, we not fucking with that. And so it's just a ratio. And I think the ratios just change a little bit from year to year of just, more serious music, what is the, the mainstays, the more popular versions of hip hop. And then what's just the younger stuff just exploring and ushering in a new wave of stuff. But to me, the biggest change has been the transition from like the popularization of drug dealers versus being drug users or drug addicts. That's probably been the biggest shift to me. And I mean, I think that comes to like the early or mid 2000s, I guess, where you have Kanye and the Backpack era ushering in where people can be themselves. So now people are emotional. They don't mind talking about their emotions and what they're really going through. And then you have Lil Wayne, and
Wayne did it, bro.
I think he did it. Because without Wayne, Wayne really, to me, he brought back lean just really being popping outside of like Texas.
Well, I think
Philly.
The emergence of Texas and Screw and that whole time period where Swisher House, Mike Jones, Power Wall, Slim Thug, you feel me? Where they were dominating the charts. People was falling in love with Candy Paint. Niggas didn't know who Kiki was, but they was trying to get, Kiki to spray they shit. Like, and I think Pimp C, like, I know in the South, folks talk about Pimp C like he's a god in the South because of the thing. And then we look at what happened to him and how we lost him. and then how we've lost others, and then I think Wayne was, I'm not gonna say inspired. I think he was a byproduct of a whole lot of that, and he was a byproduct of that at a time where he was transitioning into that best rapper alive since the best rapper retired.
I don't think Houston had that influence that Wayne ended up getting. I think Houston influenced Wayne.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And then I think with Wayne, Wayne ushered in the
ran with
potheads.
it, man.
Wayne ushered in your Wiz and your Currency and all your smokers. And I mean, once niggas started getting hot, it was just like, I mean, a pill here, a pill there, like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, Wayne said, "I feel like dying." This nigga dropped a song.
I am sitting on a cloud.
Dying.
That song was so hard.
Hey, and at the time, it's like, okay, like
I have the world at my feet.
This is the epitome of drug abuse, my nigga.
Bro, just hearing that sample in the background being super creepy too.
For real, she was hard. That was it for me.
That was right before Drought 3 too.
Hey.
Drought.
Bro, yeah, Wayne. I think just that time period is what really got us here.
But I think, and I'm sorry to cut you off, Blake.
Good.
Wayne, I believe, ushered it in and put it on a national stage. And you said a name that when we talk about like his influence on music, I think we're gonna appreciate it a lot more in like 10, 15 years. Cause when Wiz and Mac came out, and Wiz was just straight up like, "Hey, this smoking shit
This
Nigga,
is all I do.
is my
All
shit.
I do. I wake up and get high. Like,
I am going to make music about smoking." And I think once Wayne put this shit on a national scale, all Wiz needed was one. And when Black and Yellow hit,
Oh yeah.
and then niggas was like, "Oh, this is what he doing." Then they go back and revisit shit. I think that point, like niggas heard Cushion OJ, and niggas was like, you know what? Lifestyle change.
I ain't even smoking.
Niggas was really pulling up OJ, smoking Kush.
I was like,
Niggas, that was a good combo.
but it was really like in college, just seeing how that like was really influencing people because people weren't smoking. There were people who weren't smoking at all, and Wiz Khalifa.
Niggas was still rocking they Dare shirts, cuz.
Wiz Khalifa a month into that, and everybody was just
Everybody had
smoking.
Khalifa in their Facebook names.
Taylor gang, Chuck Taylor went crazy.
T-God
died, nigga.
It was, I mean, bro, it really, and so just having that influence, and then it just goes. I mean, you just slowly transition. I mean, Xans, bro, like Xanax is really just like a regular thing to people. Like people are not afraid of that at all.
I mean, it is kind of a run-of-the-mill prescription drug. You know what I mean?
Nigga,
it ain't like some like you can't get this shit nowhere. I mean, the doctor will give it to you.
Yeah, you gotta know you gotta know the right symptoms to go in there.
I mean, correct.
Admit,
but you can go get that shit. You know what I mean?
I can't just taking it is weird to me. Like
I feel
when I hear people just give instructions on how to deal with it, like when you take a Xan, at first you're gonna feel super sleepy apparently, and it's like, and if somebody came and was like, all right, you're gonna take this pill, at first you're gonna feel sleepy, but you gotta push through that, and then you're gonna be lit. I'm like, you know what? This ain't
I'm
for me,
good.
dog. Like this ain't it.
Yeah, personally, I'm good on pills. So,
Bro, it just creeps me out.
Yeah.
I was tripping when Drake said it on what song is that when he said
Sicko.
it's gotta be, is it Sicko?
Half a Xan.
Yeah, I was like, bro.
Had me out like I like.
Yeah.
That's the hottest rapper in the world.
I mean,
hey,
you ever popped?
I mean, do you remember where you were when you heard Boosie say he put X pills in women's booty holes?
Right here.
Right here.
Y'all ain't never heard this song.
No.
This fine night, I heard that Boosie was
I was today years old.
he was putting pills in women's buttholes.
Bruh. No. But speaking of drugs, like Wayne does come from that. Because I remember them talking about, it was like a documentary where Wayne and them like were legit around like dope heads to the point where they would have women who would get high by shooting like heroin and stuff like up their vaginas. And then like as a youngin, you would have sex with them to get like the high. And I was just like, bruh, Lil Wayne was hot at like 15.
Too
So
deep.
to tell like throwback stories, I'm like, bro, how old were you going?
Too deep.
Dealing with this, bro. That's crazy.
Hey, that drug shit ain't no joke.
But the drug stuff, and then just like being the open world we have, where Kanye really created that, and that's why he can still exist with all this stuff that he's been doing. Because like those kids are like, I mean, Kanye can't do no wrong.
I mean, he can do wrong.
Kanye been doing a whole lot of wrong.
But like Nate always says, too big to fail.
I mean, he's cleaning it up.
Oh, his rebrand is definitely in process.
Hey, he always been good in my book though.
Now,
So I mean, and whatever niggas want to do, but
So Kanye's my favorite rapper of all time.
might
But
as
I've
well.
been very conflicted the past.
I mean, it ain't like I've been loving it.
Oh,
I ain't
okay.
been loving them. I ain't been loving it. I ain't been loving it, but
Alex, a whole Trump supporter, talking about he don't love
He called me
Kanye.
a
What
Trump
type of
supporter.
shit is this?
No, I'm just.
Who is this guy?
You know what I'm saying? I ain't been loving it, but I can understand. I can understand for the most part most of the shit he be saying, and I can understand why it create the backlash that it do create.
And
I'm just on that side.
What's funny is he doesn't. Like, I'm always shocked by the fact that he has no empathy.
I can't tell. It's like I can't tell. It's
If
like
it's real.
unless I'm just in a room speaking with a nigga, because all these niggas that I see on TV and on interviews, it's like it's hard to tell like how they really feel and what they just saying to me right now in this interview.
I mean, I don't believe Kanye at all. I assume it's all fake, just because of his ability to turn it on and off.
I don't know, man. I mean, the mental health aspect, I know a lot of people just, want to dismiss that. But when you really be on the medications, bro, I mean, it really do fuck with your train of thought. So, it's kind of, and like you said, now he like, I'm out the sunken place, this, that, and the
off
other.
the meds.
Yeah, basically, he basically came out and said, Ye did that, so you ain't have to go through
I'm
it.
like, bro, shut up.
Hey, but for
Did y'all
real,
see
though,
his when he called out?
Bro, can we discuss this, please?
You talking about him?
Can we
calling out,
please discuss
talking
this
about
shit?
them insulting his wife?
hold on, let the
Yes,
train
bro.
go by.
Yes,
Okay,
bro.
hold on. Let me set it for those who didn't see. So basically, within the past few days, Kanye released a video. He's walking through somewhere in Chicago that looks like a relatively rough neighborhood, but I know Kanye's
just the street.
I know he's not just strolling down some hood, but
That
anyway.
nigga on South Shore.
And he's just walking down the street, and he's taking the time to address Drake, Nick Cannon, and Tyson Bedford, which really I haven't heard of Tyson Bedford since when he was on that motorcycle with Britney Spears. It's like the last time I've seen him.
I learned about that today.
But apparently he felt like the three of them have all in their own spaces been insulting his wife and alluding to having sexual relationships with her, and he just took the time to address all three of them.
I got time today, cuz.
Real talk.
And I mean, it's definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen it.
I mean, to me, I
For
understand.
humor, not for anything.
I understand
purpose.
Kanye being a little upset. I mean, the Drake thing.
Oh, you do.
The Drake thing.
You
it's
understand.
like just a little bit though. Like for the most part, I can't though. Like the Drake thing, I'm just like, I don't know. Really, Kiki. I mean,
How many Kims do you know in your life? When has Kim ever not been a short enough nickname? Like so
your
you
name-
go
your
and you
name
like,
Kim,
oh,
and we calling you Kiki.
but we gonna call you Kiki. And
Come
then,
on now.
like, who the hell has ever Kim Kardashian of all the Kims?
Have y'all seen the conspiracy tweet though? Like that. So there was a conspiracy tweet that, oh, Drake has definitely smashed Kim Kardashian. And they like basically point out all the lyrics Drake had within like the last album and the past few features.
Mhm.
And that was a big thing on there. It was like Kiki, he's definitely talking about Kim. It was naming all these instances that we would know of Kim Kardashian being referred to as Kiki. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is, trash. Nobody would believe this. Apparently, Kanye feels like it's very valid.
The same Kanye who jumped out the window at Wiz and was like,
Khalifa Kush.
KK. What you mean by
What you
KK?
mean by KK? Nigga? That was
Keep my
hilarious.
wife's name out your
That
mouth.
was hilarious.
I'm like, nigga, what?
Hey, he protective of his wife, man. What more y'all want
I
from the
mean,
nigga?
if your wife,
Damn.
I mean,
Damn.
if your wife,
Okay, I was like, you gotta be trolling. 'Cause I was like-
if your wife
mean-
has the names
your wife.
on her resume
See, look.
that
look,
she has,
Look, don't be speaking on Kanye wife like that, okay? That's his
I
wife.
mean-
That's his family. You need to
clearly
respect that.
he knew who she. First of all,
Just watch your
let's
words
get
right now.
let's get
okay?
in, let's get into who he chose to address and who he chose not to address.
Okay.
So he chooses to address Drake, which, if I'm being completely honest, I ain't even know shit about Kim Kardashian potentially having a nickname Kiki until I seen somebody tweet about the shit, and I was like, when the hell has anybody ever called Kim Kardashian Kiki?
That
Like,
ain't never been no nickname.
Y'all want to be black that bad that you just making up.
I was like, I would never know if that was her regular nickname on the show. I wouldn't know. So I was like, whatever. I'll let him live. I guess
I roll with that.
Now, as many Kikis as Drake has probably smashed in his life, you think he give a damn enough about Kim Kardashian to make a song indirectly at you?
Do you love me?
Like, I just don't. I don't see it. So off top, I was like, bro, this Drake shit. He just continues to have Drake's name in his mouth because he caught most of the heat from Drake and the beef, bro. Pusha T caught a couple. He caught a couple darts.
Yeah, like what did I do?
Kanye took. So this is, in my opinion, this is Kanye's way of saying, "Oh, you had me fucked up. I was just off the meds and I couldn't defend myself. So I'm coming for everything that's mine." Now let's talk about Nick Cannon. No Nick Cannon. We don't know who the fuck Kim Kardashian is, and we don't give a fuck about Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian is a byproduct of Nick Cannon. She was Nick, like, the first
early.
Nick Cannon is who put her on and connected her with Nicki and Paris Hilton. People know Kim from the Paris Hilton show.
Okay. Oh wait. I mean, you really feel like that's why people know Kim Kardashian?
No, what I'm saying is people. So Kim got her first, I guess, TV break from the Hilton show.
Know her name, I guess.
Yeah, people. So when the whole Ray J shit dropped, it was because they knew her as Paris Hilton's friend. The only reason she was really like, she got like cool with Paris and Nicki is because she was originally in a relationship with Nick Cannon. And that was when Nick Cannon was like hot out here. So, you know, like in the Hollywood parties and shit like that. And so when they ask him about Kim, usually it's because all of her fame that came down the road directly ties back to her interaction, however long it was, with Nick Cannon.
That's weird. Like,
that's wild as hell.
Shit's still long ass.
Now,
yeah.
It's safe to say Nick was fucking with Kim before niggas was even giving a damn about Kim. So if they ask him and he had her first, what is he supposed to do? I'm not answering questions about Kim Kardashian.
I mean,
like,
okay, if he
Kanye said, "You know me."
I mean, like, there's a way he could answer those if
you want to be respectful.
But think about how we view. So we view Nick Cannon as a culture. We view Nick Cannon as this corny ass dude, right? But he's a corny ass dude with a hell of a fucking resume when it comes to people who he's been with or he's been linked to being with sexually or in a relationship. So he got like a top 5, you feel me, resume in Hollywood. That's what people talk about. So if you talking about it in that context, number one on the list in the culture for the most part is going to be Kim. And we only know Kim because of Nick.
What did Nick Cannon say? Do y'all know?
I know Kanye was just referencing. I just think like probably a multitude of interviews, most likely with Nick Cannon, where they probably asked him about Kim. I'm sure Nick he probably ain't said nothing off the wall. And even when Nick had his response, he was like, "Damn, I don't even know what I said."
Because, bruh,
that really offended you.
When Nick goes on these podcasts and these interviews and shit like that, they talk to him about like 2 or 3 different things. They talk about how he was in a gang and changed his life and became an actor and child star, all that shit. They talk about his resume and the notches on his headboard. And then they talk about life with money and Mariah and all of that shit. Like, them the 3 points that wherever he go, they gonna try to hit that shit. So it was probably a passing conversation, and Kanye took it to the next level.
I mean, I really just want to hear what you know about Tyson Beckford. That's really funny to me.
All I heard was that Tyson Beckford and Kim had an interaction. They had an exchange where he was commenting on her body being fake. And she made a comment as if, I don't know if it was alluding to his sexuality or maybe they've done something and she wasn't pleased, whatever the case may be. She basically said something like, "Oh, we know why you don't like my body." So it was kind of vague where it could go.
Okay, kid.
Like, you feel what I'm saying?
When
But
he said that, I was just like, I wouldn't like if I'm Kanye West, I'm not responding to anything Tyson Beckford said. Like, it's just not somebody I'm gonna address. But I mean, with Kanye, I just don't You knew like that she had these relationships around Hollywood. There's no way I'm gonna give energy or be reaction. But I can understand. I see both sides. I can understand how he feels.
he made a whole song about what his life is currently. It's called Gold Digger.
You think Kim's a gold digger?
No, I'm saying that everything that he described in the song Gold Digger. Go back and listen to Gold
At
Digger.
the end, get on and leave.
Like, listen to Gold Digger. As like Serena, Trina, Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
I just feel like if you're
she been in showbiz.
If my girlfriend had 2 left feet and I knew she couldn't dance, and someone was like, "Yeah, your girl can't dance," I don't think I'm gonna lose my mind. Like,
I mean, you're gonna lose.
I mean,
let me not speak out of turn.
If your girl can't dance and me, a nigga, like we done spent time together, and I'm in public saying some negative shit about your girl, you gonna be like, okay, like I understand niggas gonna say negative shit about my girl, but do you have to say negative shit about my girl?
Have you
if
been
you're Tyson Bedford? I'm not gonna care.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
And if you,
I guess maybe they have a personal relationship.
I mean, Tyson Beckford, he pretty much, was speaking about Kim and was just like, yo, like I really don't care for her. She ain't real. Doctor fucked up her surgery. So if Kanye feeling like damn,
so
like,
he knows inside information is what you're telling
like,
us.
damn, like this is something I wasn't expecting from this person. Then he got a right to feel a way about it.
What makes you feel? Why do you think he felt the need to respond now?
Well, like Kanye said, I mean, these niggas say out the sunken place. No, but really, I just feel like
rebranding.
I mean, it's like, Kanye has obviously, and even going back to, because I feel like he just had a recent incident on a red carpet where a reporter, I keep tapping this mic, my bad. A reporter asked him about some shit that Tyson Beckford said, and he was like, yo, like get this reporter out of here. He's like, yo, either she gotta leave or I gotta leave. You know what I'm saying? So clearly it's been some shit that's building up. The Drake Kim rumors, they've been building up. Because he also mentioned that, he just was upset that Drake ain't came out and like debunked the rumors. Yeah. I'm like, it's like, what do you really expect Drake to do that shit? Like, these are like rumors that have, they have basis, but they really don't have no basis.
Is fighting people accusing him of rape.
Like, come on, bro.
Taking paternity tests every other damn week. Like, nigga is not.
He not finna come out and be like, yo,
over a Twitter rumor.
And y'all slick beefing. Like, what you mean? Like, you apologize, but Drake ain't came out and said, yeah, nigga.
Drake still feel like you told Pusha T that he had an illegitimate son.
Like, what you saying? And that nigga said, don't come around me with no 350s, nigga.
The
song just dropped 2 days ago.
We just came from putting pen to the pad.
Like, come on, man. We was just out there, you feel me? That's what Drake said. We was just out there, But, so, I mean, obviously Kanye feeling the type of way. Now he like, man, I'm going to defend my wife, which I feel like he got every right to do. It's kind of weird what he's choosing. I mean, Nick Cannon, Drake. I mean, these are not people who are really just out here disrespecting your wife.
Niggas drop Kim K name in raps every day.
But that's a part of the game. I feel like Kanye is like, yo, these are people who I just would not expect to be still shitting on my wife.
But you got to know who your wife is.
I think he do know. I mean, he know that people are going to shit on his wife, but it's just like, Yo, it's just like, yo, if you know me, if you know my family, like, there's no reason for you to be talking about my wife, bro. I know, like, we know what my wife did in the past, but at the end of the day, like, this my wife, this my family. Like, so unless you just somebody who ain't got no relationship to me, where, you know, you just a person who just love to speak, you know, in fucking shade room comments or some shit like that, then don't be speaking on my wife. You know, it don't matter who, I mean, we know what my wife, I mean, she a woman. You know what I'm saying? It's like, don't do that shit. If going back to when, you know, when 21 Savage was with Amber Rose, like, you shouldn't, if you cool with 21, don't be shitting on Amber Rose.
Girl,
we
yeah.
know
see,
what Amber Rose
the
been through.
difference in that situation is 21 Savage made it very clear. Ain't no disrespect gonna be tolerated from anybody.
And Ye making the same shit clear.
No, but see,
he
Ye,
not 21
but
though.
see, Ye made it clear to 3 people. You feel me? Like, my nigga Ray J came out with a whole song telling everybody, "Hey, I hit it first though, my
he
G."
didn't diss Ray J a million times.
I
mean,
mean, that situation probably been handled at this point.
I mean,
they've definitely had to sit down. As long ago as that's been, like, they probably addressed that.
yeah.
I feel Kanye. I'm not mad at him.
I mean, where was this energy from Kim when Amber was talking about putting fingers in Kanye booty hole?
Kim was like, I'll do that shit too, so.
Like, you feel me? Like,
shit, this ain't nothing
she
new.
need to
That's
keep
how we
that
get
same
down.
energy.
Keep
You
that
feel
same
the same
energy.
energy she had with dude from Donda's house,
Ron Fest?
Ron Fest. The energy
that
she
back
had
cool?
for
That's crazy.
Now I wonder how that conversation goes. Like, hey dog, you gotta get your girl for
I'm broke.
like,
Yeah, that's how it went.
That's
Yeah.
exactly how it went. I'm
Yeah.
broke.
Fuck all the bullshit, man. Can you give me another check? Like, let me write another song for you.
I need another song.
That's the only reason.
Yeah, said, bet. I got
That's the
Yanni
only reason
dropping.
that conversation even happens. Like,
Yanni dropping in 2 weeks, nigga. We got to get to work.
bro, he's gonna make the same mistake that I feel like he made with
Right.
I don't even know what the whole
Yeah.
album every
It was called Yay.
Friday. Not the album, but just the whole good music thing where it's an album every week.
Mhm.
The him and Chance album and Yandi back to back. It's too much, bro. Like, I just feel like you can't go from being a perfectionist to really just throwing out music every week, like, and expect the same quality.
Did we figure out whether or not Chance the Rapper was an industry plant, or
I've heard that about him.
do we not
and
care
Black.
about that shit no more?
What? I don't really know what an industry plan is.
A nigga who they put in the game who really was set up to succeed type shit.
I mean, isn't that just good business? Like,
I mean, I feel like when people consider somebody an industry plant, they just don't consider it like an organic rise to stardom. You know, it's like from the jump, you know, you were provided with opportunities or some type of advantage, you know. And sometimes it's either for, you know, that person's career or like, you know, they'll say that the industry is trying to push some specific agenda.
Yeah, they're trying to shift the culture.
Yeah, so, you know, it's like if we want Chance to pop, like, you know what I'm saying, we trying to get this independent shit to pop, so, you know, we gonna let Chance be,
Yeah,
you know, the
like
head of that.
SoundCloud was at risk of going under, and then
And then he saved it.
Chance the Rapper pops, and then now all of a sudden SoundCloud is like leading the charge of getting the bill that was just passed, and now Spotify, you know, is doing the open.
Yeah, now they finna let, you know, independent
people-
artists be able to upload their music
Yeah,
without,
so-
you know, some third party.
That's where a lot of it comes from, but it's like
Just rumors.
I've heard the
sometimes. I don't
rumors
know.
of Chance, and even though some of the rumors have been very valid when you think about it, I don't think he's an industry plant. But what's crazy is they have this assumption that Chance is an industry plant, but nobody questions 6ix9ine. And I personally think 6ix9ine is one of those industry plants, because if you think about the current climate of hip hop and the niggas who have at some point done a complete 180 on 6ix9ine, it's like, bro, these niggas don't do 180s for
nobody.
shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Well, his numbers are ridiculous.
Yeah, I
That's
mean-
why I'm always like, what is going on with
his
him?
numbers are ridiculous, but it's crazy how his numbers are ridiculous, but the songs with these ridiculous numbers never make it to certain markets.
I
Never
swear,
hear that out
I swear,
loud.
6ix9ine is just not popping in our area, bro. Like
he's definitely in New York.
Like in the South, bro. I just do not be hearing no 6ix9ine.
Exactly, but to do those types of numbers, you can't just have the tri-state area.
It is strange, bro.
Like it's one of those situations where it's like, okay, so he gets. How do you get when people are questioning? First, people were questioning, yo, gangster. Then people started questioning whether or not you were a liability for their venues and security, so they stopped letting you go places. Then all of a sudden, you randomly you get kidnapped, right? You get kidnapped. We find out about it. You okay? Like 2 days later, you in another country giving out money to poor children.
That's what he loved to do,
right?
And give out 20s and 100s.
And it's like this is seeming a little because I have never personally been kidnapped. But I don't think you just get kidnapped and then 2 days later you just show back up and you straight. Like, especially if you worth as much if you worth as much money as they say he's worth, niggas shouldn't have been able to get close enough to kidnap him, number one.
So the kidnapping I thought was fake. I thought he was just like in jewelry fraud. That's what I heard.
See, that's the thing. Man. We don't it's so many unknowns in this situation.
All I know is this fucking Treyway nigga.
I have a genuine question. I feel like it's gonna send us down a rabbit hole because Nate,
we already down a rabbit hole.
Is the Cardi B president, a fan club president, but is Cardi B considered a industry plant?
I can see why people would say it.
I wouldn't consider her a plant.
I don't think she is because she had an organic rise as far as how people knew her. Mm-hmm. And then once she got on, because she had a huge following before she even got on Love and Hip Hop. Then when she got on Love and Hip Hop, it was on a main stage. Now, I do think that the industry latched on to timing. It's like, you remember when Issa Rae first popped with Insecure, It's a Knife was popping. So like, Issa, whether it was 21 Savage or Issa Rae, you feel me? So then all of a sudden, Issa Rae is very comfortable in who she is. Then you have Tiffany Haddish rise into the ranks where she becomes the darling. So it's like in acting, writing, you have this authenticity in Black women. You have this in comedy with Tiffany Haddish, and then now you have this in hip hop. So it's like everything's culminating at the same. And like you said, it is very coincidental. I can see where someone would say that, but when you hear people talk about how Cardi was, even when she was a stripper, they would be like, the same way she is now is the same way she used to be in the strip club.
Bro, I went back and listened to her episode when she was on the Joe Budden podcast, and this was like early, like before Maul, back when they have Marissa Mendez.
Yeah.
When I tell you, Cardi, I never would have thought Cardi was media trained until I heard that. Like, I mean, shit.
You made me want to go back.
Bro, I was like, it's crazy, bro. To see people's growth and to see how like society changes, because I know that's something else we want to talk about, but on the podcast in general, and I'm not saying it's like paint him in a bad light because I think it was just of the times. I think this was back in like 2015 I think it was like 2015. Mm-hmm. And Rory, who's probably the most like, conscious about how he speaks on acts, particularly because he's white, and I know, it's a thin line. But 5 minutes on that same episode, he drops a faggot. And I was like, bro, just with my 2018 years.
That's a different era.
Bro, my 2018 years, I said, whoa.
This shit is different.
Whoa. And I was like, bro, it's just
that
crazy.
F word, that shit worse than the N word, goddamn.
Right. And I was just like, I was in shock.
Shit, I'm scared. Blake might have to go back and just. You might have to go. You gotta go bleep that, cause
real shit. Don't have me on this with you.
Shit, this is not on brand.
I don't support that shit.
Bro, he let it fly, and it wasn't even like It was. I mean, it was derogatory. Like I was just like, damn, this shit is tough.
Niggas did not care.
And when I realized, I was like, bro, it's crazy how far we've come. Because I know, like, as a
real talk,
when I was younger, I definitely let it fly. And I'm like,
bro, it was nothing.
Bro, I was like, bro, as a society, have we changed?
Niggas had no idea,
bro. And just or just the whole conversation of men and women now. It's just everything has changed. I mean, I think it's for the better, obviously. Like, it's good that we're getting this way, but it's still crazy to me to see how different things are. Like, I didn't even know what misogyny was 2013.
I mean, I don't think we know what misogyny is now. But like, that shit changes every day.
Yeah, I just keep it real. I don't know what else.
Bro, the line is so thin with all that stuff, like with misogyny and feminism and everything. It's just like, it's a constant conflict on things. Because have y'all followed the Supreme Court judge being appointed or being nominated, rather?
I just heard about this maybe 2 hours ago. My mom just briefed me on this.
So basically, the Donald Trump, the president, is appointing or nominating a Supreme Court judge. I don't remember his first name, but his last name's Kavanaugh. And that's pretty. I mean, that's how he's typically referred to. And so he went through his confirmation hearings, and there was a big show with that. And now,
like a fuck nigga.
I mean, I don't really agree with any of his stances, but the situation he's going through now is like, I feel like that's debatable. Like, I can see both sides on it. And I'm just like, this is a real conflict, because basically he's went through the confirmation hearing. Those more about his, I guess his reputation as a judge and whether he's credible and his morals, and those are questioned by other senators or by the senators in general. And so, he went through all that, but now a story has been brought to everyone's attention by a young lady who knew him when they were kids. So I want to say he was 17 and she was 15.
Mm-hmm.
And basically she felt that he sexually assaulted her. They had been drinking and they were in like a cabin. And I mean, the story's out there. You can look into the details. But more or less, there was no actual like intercourse. He didn't,
I think it was attempted.
Yeah,
like,
he basically comes off like, they had been drinking and he came on to her and she was like, no. And he just kept trying a few times.
What niggas gonna do?
Yeah. And he never like forced himself on her or anything like that, but not excusing what he did at all. But what's crazy is
I'm excusing
it. What's crazy is, was it 30 years ago?
Yes, 30 years ago.
30 years ago.
30
happened.
plus years ago.
And now it's coming back up, and they're like there's just a huge debate on whether it's is this fair? What, like, should this be held against him? And bro, at first, like my first time hearing it, I'm just like, this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
30 years ago, he didn't actually do anything. Bullshit. But what I've typically tried to do with all these things is stop and just kind of force myself into the mindset of this person. Is like, all right, are we going to say?
Man. Look at you, man.
Well, I mean,
being an upstanding human, man.
Well, no. I get called a sexist on the radio by my fiance, so I'm working. But I mean, it just goes against everything. It goes.
Yeah, we're gonna have to dive into that. not just gonna drive by that.
It just goes against everything they say we're supposed to do with sexual assault victims. And what blew my mind the most was CNN. They're good for just getting random people together.
Correct.
And they got a group of women together, and they were all, I think they were all, Republicans, or they're just all typically conservatively natured. And they were just like, I mean, fuck her. Bro, all the women were just shitting on her, and I was just like, wait.
You can't shit on her.
Bro, they were just like, why would she say anything? Then someone was like, that was 30 years ago, told her to shut up. Like, bro, they just were not here for it. I'm like, bro, that's, the main people you would think would empathize with her. And I'm just like, I mean, I'm interested to see what's going to happen, because it was kind of a little weird situation. She wanted the FBI to investigate it, and I don't know.
No, that's, like, if you going to come with your story, like, come present your story. Obviously this is something, like we just discussed, over 30 years ago. It was something that you are confirming that it was attempted. It ain't like the nigga raped you. I mean, it was like, it was probably just a nigga, made her feel uncomfortable. Which, I mean, like you said, it's not excusable. But I mean, if a nigga 17, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like any dude know that if you 17 and you been drinking, I mean, who you are now, it's like who I am now would not be who I am when I was 17. And if I was under the influence of alcohol, I mean, I probably would have I ain't gonna say I probably would have, made a mistake.
That's
but
not
saying,
on brand.
You know what I'm saying?
you need to chill.
Look,
sir.
Look, if something happened that, a girl be like, yo, like I was made uncomfortable. I mean, to condemn a nigga and be like, yo, like that was fucked up what you did 33 years ago, dog, when you was 17 under the influence. Like that was fucked up, bro. And I don't even think you've changed as a person. You a shitty person. And for that reason, you cannot be in the Supreme Court, my nigga.
I think that shit becomes a slippery slope because it's not like, and I hear Charlamagne and them talk about it all the time. Like there was a point in time, there was a point in time in this country where a whole lot of shit, they just let shit fly. Like shit was wild.
Nigga, shit's still flying.
Shit's still flying, but in the era of the Me Too and, you know, feminism and toxic masculinity and, you know, these buzzwords and things like that, I think we have to look at situations in retrospect of times and the times in which they occurred. Not saying that what happened or what, you know, was attempted is correct, but you're not playing by the same set of rules. It's like when motherfuckers go back in time and they like, yo, Jerry West had the best handles of all time. And you like, Nico, what? And then you go back and you watch the film and you like, bruh, Jerry West was crossing over the library. Like,
but how do you do that? How do you, I guess, who is the person, or, I mean, obviously it's not a person, but how do we differentiate on what we did in the past that what standards we had in the past that were acceptable then that aren't acceptable now? And how do we make that transition from saying, from just being realistic? Like, you can't judge people by what happened back then with today's standards. And we do that all the time. And there's some things where you just feel like, no, I should be able to, like people do with slavery, where we have like, and I mean, in Tennessee, it's been going on for the past year or so where people want certain monuments taken down because, or it's been all over the nation where they want certain monuments taken down because they're like, you know, this person was a slave owner. Like, why should we celebrate him? And I mean, of course, I'm not in support of slavery, but if that was of that time, like, who wouldn't be doing that? And that's the same thing we're seeing today. And I think with slavery, we're able to say, yeah, that was bad unanimously. But when it comes to things like this, it's like, yeah, that's difficult to say, especially when it's a kid. Like, just, I mean, you just do a lot of stupid things when you're that age.
Yeah. But I think when you're looking at it from hindsight is 20/20. And we're always looking at situations in hindsight. And I think that is the issue. And like you said, until we can be consistent on things, I don't think we can there's never going to be a clear path to what needs to occur. And I don't think we'll ever be able to be consistent on something. Because it's like, when we talk about the Black experience in the United States of America, we always go back to the fact of there were certain things that were put in place, certain activities, certain things that happened in slavery that are still ingrained into people to this day. So it's like when people tell us slavery was 450 years ago, why are y'all still talking about slavery? And it's like, because it's still relevant. So
and it wasn't 400,
yeah,
whatever the fuck, you know, niggas love to say that.
But in that same regard, when we have situations of like this situation, it's like, how can we in one breath say, you know, slavery still has implications and it still affects us to this day, and then tell this girl, oh, that shit was 30 years ago, cuz like, what is you talking about? Like,
straight.
What is you like? What are you talking about? And so I think the messaging has to be consistent, and until we can get it to, I don't think we'll ever be able to get it to a consistent place because, of course, there's nuance in everything. But when you're having a conversation, it's like you come off as if, oh, you a hypocrite. So it's cool for this, but it's not cool for this. And that's how I feel about, you know, when we talk about especially sexual assault and sexual harassment in 2018 means something completely different than it meant, hell, in 2010, let alone in the 90s, the 80s, and then you go into the 70s. So it's like, we got somebody, when the shit came out about Bill Cosby, bro, people was like, what the fuck? If this shit, because it did, it came out in both the 80s and the 90s. And folks was like, nigga, Bill just being Bill. Y'all tripping.
I had never heard that before.
Yeah. Like, it was documented that Bill has fought a lot of this shit before, behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. He had his lawyers take care of some. That's why his wife is making such a big stink about everything that's going on right now, because they've gone through this before. So it's like, now that we live and we play by a different set of rules, whether you agree or disagree with the rules now, they are what they are. The court of public opinion is what it is. He's had more damage from the court of public opinion in, post 2016, post 2015, whenever it was, than he has in the actual court of law over the time frame in which all of these activities were going on. Because there was a point where motherfuckers was like, shit, everybody was doing Quaaludes, because Quaaludes at one point was like how people smoke weed now. So it's like,
you can't drop them hoes in the drink though, bro.
I get
that's a little different.
I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is recreationally, what they were doing is similar to what's going on now. I'm not saying it's okay.
But you can't recreationally drop Quaaludes in a whole drink. She not a hoe. She not a hoe. She not a hoe.
I mean, a woman's drink. But I guess in a lot of what he would defend himself with is, these are things that we're doing in there. We're doing.
And y'all was dirty.
We was doing it.
Y'all was dirty, Bill.
We was doing. So dirty. It's like, so we move, in the words of Wale, so we moving the goalposts. We moving the goalposts now. And it's like, how do you look back and say, oh, this shit was not okay. In theory, it was not okay then, but it was acceptable. And now it's still not okay, but now we're like, nah, that's not acceptable.
Well, they finna send Bill ass to jail, man.
I think, ain't Bill already in jail?
I think he's been fighting it.
Yeah, I don't think he actually in jail yet, but I think sure, that he's. I think he's on his way.
Bro, what's not funny, but what's crazy is I just read the story the other day. I want to say this kid was in Texas. This kid got expelled from school like second or third week of school for grabbing a butt, grabbing this girl's butt. I mean,
damn,
sexual assault. And I was just like, bro, times are really different.
That's rough.
Like,
expelled,
bro. Like, I'm like, that's crazy.
Man, couldn't get ASD, nigga, after school detention. What's going on? They expelling nigga.
Bro, I was just like, it's really different. Just like I can imagine being single nowadays. I'm like, I have no desire to be single, just because you are really constantly trying to learn the current standards of today and make sure that you are, being. Bro, I was just so recently, it's messed up to have, like, your initial meeting with a girl, if you're to say, hey, let's go out and get drinks. Because, like, your first thought is, oh, I want to, take her out of her, sober train of thought and and I was just like, yeah, come on, dog. Like, this is so much. Like,
you got to think about all that shit.
I was like,
you can't invite her over to the crib. Definitely no house visits on no initial date. Like you said, can't get drinks. You got to do something very neutral. You know what I'm saying? She has every right to be, shook from you because, she meeting a new nigga. Now that one I can kind of understand because niggas are crazy. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, all this stuff is learned, just like with Russell Simmons, where like half of his stories, the victims say like, no, it wasn't any like situation where I told them I felt the way. Yeah. He was like, afterwards or the next day, I just felt like I had been violated. Mm-hmm. It's like, you didn't say nothing happened. And when you hear them describe the story and let them take you just on the journey in their perspective, you completely see how they felt violated and how they were hurt. But if you were able to like really just take the situation and view it from the other person's or Russell's perspective as well, it's just like, he has no clue. And then 20, 30 years later, he hears about it. I'm like, this is scary, bro. Like,
it's not fair. It's like, I know as a woman, and it don't even have to be as a woman, even just as a person. Like, sometimes you go through situations that, make you feel a little uncomfortable. I won't even say a little. Like they can make you feel very uncomfortable. But it's like, and like we talk about on our podcast all the time, as we're going through life, like we're going through life looking through our lens, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times we get really focused on what we're seeing and what we're experiencing, and we just
completely ignore.
We refuse to take into account like how somebody else may be seeing it. You know what I'm saying? And even though like, if you feel like something wrong is happening to you, or, if we're just talking about an uncomfortable situation, like based on how you're reacting, like you can't just expect like, yo, this person needs to know that I'm uncomfortable. Like you cannot expect that. You know what I'm saying? And especially if especially if you're not making it clear, because at this point it's like you should make it clear. It just reminds me. I don't know if y'all was familiar with the Aziz Ansari situation.
That story was crazy.
Yeah, where it's like it's a complete situation where the woman, it's like, yo, like, yeah, I did all these things. Like I pretty much, I tried to give him an indication that, I was uncomfortable, but I still sucked his dick. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, what is a nigga supposed to do? Like, what is a nigga supposed to do? Like, just let a nigga know, like, yo, like, I'm really not feeling this. Like,
niggas have not gotten their dick sucked for much less.
like, just let a nigga know. You feel me? But it's like, I at this point, I do have a lot of empathy for women. I mean, I understand that it's just hard. Like it's hard being a woman, and it's hard dealing with niggas who can sometimes be very, I guess, quote unquote intimidating, or just their actions are very overbearing, and as a woman, you always kind of feel like your safety is in jeopardy at times, and as a man, it's just like, damn, just tell me what's going on. But also when I think about looking from a woman's perspective, it's like, damn, like I can understand how, she may not feel 100% comfortable with just letting me know, like, look, like, no, this is something I really don't want to do, given the circumstances of whatever is going on. So, like Nate always says, man, it's a slippery slope. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta hear both sides.
I think it's just a growing thing.
I'm definitely a hear both sides ass nigga.
Gotta hear both sides.
I need to hear both. And then when I hear both, I'm not gonna agree with one side. I'm just gonna be like, well, you got your side, you got your side. Where do we go from here?
Yeah,
like, where do we go?
I think it's a growing pain too. I think we're just growing as a society, and that's just one of the things we're learning how to adjust with the fact that this is one side of the story, but there's another side as well, and you have to just find a way to understand both. And I think we'll get better at learning how to coexist. But right now, yeah, I'm not. I'm excited.
I think the struggles, we don't really, I'm not going to say we because I don't want to speak for all men. I think
speak for yourself.
For myself, when I look at, before a lot of these, societal changes and standards came about, it was easy for me to not think about some of the stuff that women have to deal with on a daily basis. And it's like, you got to take into account and think about, it don't matter if you are, I'm really afraid to get into this because kind of what we were talking, like what we were talking, like what we were talking about earlier. Because when you talk about gender and gender being fluid and all of that other stuff now, like the conversation is, you got to be so careful with the things that you say now because you don't know what you don't know. But it's like, I'll say this: people who have vaginas, their experience differs from people who have penises. And it's like, from my point of view,
men. Continue.
Yeah, I'm like, what's
continue. I will say it for you. Women and men. Continue.
So for me, it's like when you think about it, at a certain point in your life, you view women like, you view women exactly like the worst shit that they say, but it's like, it's natural. Like inherently, when you look at a woman, aesthetically, you're looking whether or not you are attracted to this person or not. Everything else is secondary, regardless of what anybody says. So it's like when you take women who are extremely curvy, and you think about the experience that they have to have on a daily basis. Like, you take a thick ass woman and just take a second and think about the shit that she has to deal with on a daily basis. And then you take, let's say, a skinny woman and think about the situation she has to deal with on a daily basis. And then you take, let's say, maybe a larger woman, and all of them have a very similar experience, but like you always say, Alex, and through different lenses. Because what one society, like right now in the hip hop community, these super curvy, ass shot, breast implant, lip injection, this whole look is what's being force fed to the hip hop culture. So the pressure that a lot of these women have to either get in the gym, do they squats every damn day so they can get that ass
every hour,
and do what it is that they need to do so that they can, for a lot of them in their mind, to attract, what people are deeming as a level of beauty. And then you have the ones who are going out here and getting these butt shots and, risking their lives or whatever the case may be. And then nobody thinks about the experience of the woman who may be a little bit bigger than what society says is okay. Or the women who, like, they just naturally are skinny. So that experience is something completely different. And I think as men, we don't think about that. Because aesthetically, and what a lot of women don't understand is aesthetically, a man is just going to look, am I attracted to you or not? If I'm not attracted to you, but you got a good personality, we can kick it. It's cool. But that experience for a woman is like, okay, why does this person want to have this interaction with me? And I think before it was easier for them to be, cool with whatever they wanted to do. But now it's like, I've seen it where it's like an added pressure for you to either be like a super woke feminist ass woman or like your everyday run of the mill woman. Very rarely do you find like the in the middle that is being pushed, because like you were saying, the societal changes. It's like men don't know what the hell to say no more.
I think so. I agree with you to a certain extent, but what I think is funny is I think we're in the time of women being able to finally be, different shapes, different sizes, different colors, have different interests, and it's a bigger platform for them, and we don't have those. I mean, we still have them, of course, but we don't have as many of those strict lanes that they have to be in. But what's weird is you still see like what you're describing on social media so much. You see these like really strict guidelines of what women are supposed to be like and what they're supposed to like, and that's kind of weird. I've noticed that trend, but I will say in the real world, I feel like it's the most accepting we've ever been of
definitely
different people and what their different interests or makeups are.
I agree.
But
with Blake, I don't know what the fuck you was talking about, Nate.
That's how it be.
But I'm gonna get off of the women conversation because I feel like I'm gonna get lectured later. Take it on something a little lighter like golf.
Yup. I'm already writing it down, nigga.
Timestamp.
I didn't approve this.
At 1 hour 15, nigga. What the hell was you talking about?
But Alex or Acee, my fault. A lot on y'all spot.
Alex, man. You can call me Alex, man. That is my name.
I didn't know it was that.
But I go by Acee, man. Realest nigga, realest flow.
Right.
You already know. Like
I'm so glad you don't have that damn drop.
Like the song say.
I have another homeboy
51.9
who raps and goes by the name Acee. And I was like, damn, that's crazy.
Is it Acee like my name,
well,
or is it just
AC,
like Acee?
Acee Noel.
Acee Noel.
It goes well.
Well, my name was Ace, but then I was like, damn, it's Ace Hood. I was like, I don't. Damn,
Yo, Siri is wild. Siri be wilding. That'd be the worst shit ever when you be recording and you say some shit and Siri just start.
When I be saying AC, like Siri be activating, bro.
They had to be what it's
yeah, like could that be happening on my phone? If I be listening to my music, bro, and then my song it'll be like AC, and Siri be like, "What's good, nigga?
Dum, dum,
What's
dum,
good?"
dum, dum.
Yeah, nah, but no, you asked me about golf.
Oh, I was gonna say on the podcast y'all talk about golf a lot, and I know you probably
would you say a lot?
I mean, more than any other person.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
Yeah, and I know you just don't get a lot of
Nigga, don't nobody talk about golf. So we talked about it once, bro. It's a lot.
So that's a lot.
I was gonna say, I know you don't get a lot of outlets to talk about, so I was gonna let you get your golf on.
Hey,
did you see about the guy who got out of jail because of golf?
I did see about that, and I want to make sure we talking about the dude who was like he drew a lot of golf pictures. Yeah, I heard about that. I thought that was pretty neat, man. I thought it was very unique because the dude was like, yo, like I never played golf, like I ain't do nothing like that, but he was. How did he get initially introduced to golf? I mean,
27 years in jail.
Yeah, I think they said like the warden came and like told him to, because he was an artist, so they told him to like redraw like a golf hole. And so, I saw a lot of pictures of his art. I thought that was pretty neat. And then obviously the golf publication that he was involved with got a little bit more involved in his case, which led to his exoneration. And I think it was a case of like, he had a gun. Like he was guilty to some extent, but he just was not guilty for like the murder that they was trying to.
Yeah, so he ended up being exonerated from a murder in 1991. And he did, which was weird, was right when he, like, as soon as the crime happened, the guy who, they have now pinned the murder on said, I did that. So I was unclear as to how
our justice system is fucking trash.
The cause they so said bad. Like the article I read from I think the New York Times literally said that the defense lawyers and the prosecution were like, the probable cause was minimal.
But like when you read the article, it just doesn't make sense. But what it said was he was exonerated from a murder 27 years ago, and but he did have a weapon illegally. Mm-hmm. So he ended up doing, the judge who heard his appeal ended up saying, basically you are guilty for weapons charge.
But you did your time.
So you did 27 years. The limit for that is normally 15. So go home. I was like, bro, our justice system is so trash.
Right, it's
anytime
fucked up.
You look into something, it's just like, oh, well, this doesn't make sense.
It's fucked up, and it's just antiquated as hell. Like the fact that the shit that's still in place is still in place. Like obviously, I mean, a lot of people are aware of how our bail system works. I mean, it's if you poor, you're done. Like if you're poor and you get arrested, like you're done. Yeah, you're done.
What's crazy is I don't know if you guys are ever on, I mean, I'm sure you're on Netflix, but I don't know if you ever browse through like those prison shows on Netflix. I was going to watch one either today or the other day, and I was just like, bro, this looks too depressing. And it's just like, what do we think is going to happen to these people that like live in the worst conditions possible and then come back into society? There's no way you're going to be a productive member of society.
You would need to be a part of some program that's going to help you get assimilated back into society. Like that should be like a requirement if you're released from jail after serving so many years. But we would never fund some shit that would be reasonable. Exactly.
I looked up because of that the best prison systems in the world. I would trade my life for a few of those prisons.
Hey, I mean, a lot of places overseas, bro, you go to prison. I mean, it's the way it's actually supposed to be, where niggas is like, yo, we going to actually like try to work with you. Like we going to rehab you. We not going to put you in some like horrible, conditions where, it's like, going to prison should be about, making sure this person, it's like they need to be away from the public. So this your punishment. You got to be away from the public. But we got to get you ready. We got to get you back ready to be, a part of public, back in the, in the public and not, whatever you went to prison for. I mean, you gotta have an incentive to, not go back to a life of crime, whatever you was doing. And obviously, our prison systems are not. I mean, it's all about money. Like it's all about money, So it's like, I don't know, like niggas talk about, they want to reduce crime and shit, but I mean, the truth is they don't.
At all.
It was more crime, more money.
It was some place like Norway or Switzerland or something. You get like a condo.
I mean, I mean, that's the way it should be.
A lot of places around the world don't even use like guns when they are trying to apprehend suspects.
Bro, police don't even keep guns, bro. This shit is wild.
Bro.
But we on some other shit, bro.
Murder gang shit.
Murder gang. Murder gang. Real shit.
But back to golf. There's another thing that you guys talked about your podcast that I wanted to ask you about, and I've had a hard time avoiding you asking. How do you resonate so well with Tiger Woods?
How do I resonate with Tiger
firstly, do you
Woods?
consider Tiger Woods black?
Do I consider him black? I consider him biracial. I consider
Black.
Hey, his dad is black. His
Black.
dad is black. I think his mom is like Japanese.
Long story short, the reason Alex resonates with Tiger Woods because he's a foul nigga.
No, well, so I've heard
he had black. He
He's
had
a
black,
foul
half
nigga.
Japanese.
I've heard you call him black before, and I was like,
I mean,
you don't call Barack black.
Barack is, he mixed, But he not black like me, but he got black in him. Has some black heritage.
Niggas.
You know what I'm saying? And Tiger got some black in him, bro. I mean, he not black like me, but it ain't nobody black like me on
So
the
how do you
PGA Tour.
so how do you define black like you versus what Tiger
when
is?
you got a black mom and a black dad, and they both had to grow up black, and then they had your black ass, and now you black as hell. That's black like me. If your mama white, you not black like me. That's just the fact of the matter. But yeah, going to Tiger, I mean, like he not black like me, but he the closest thing on the PGA Tour, and he just the truth. So like. And what Tiger did to golf, and especially what he did to golf for black people, like niggas
But he's not black.
Bro, he black, bro. His dad black.
Gotta
His
pick a
dad
side,
black.
bro. You
He's
gotta pick a
biracial.
side.
He's biracial. But
Is his
like I said,
daddy
he the
black as
closest
hell?
thing. He
Is
the
his daddy
closest
black
thing.
as hell?
His dad has passed, but yeah, he black, bro. He black.
God bless the dead.
Nigga named Earl. He black.
Hey, that's my granddaddy name, fool. I know he was a hard nigga.
So Tiger. Tiger is. He is biracial, and if when they asked him a long time ago, he was like, "Yo,
I'm not fucking with black folks."
He wasn't fucking with black folks till he got
this
caught fucking all them white women,
This how
and then
black
he was
people
like,
work. This how black people work. Tiger was like, "Yo, like I'm biracial, like I'm half black, I'm half Japanese," and black people like, "What? You not claiming full black, nigga? Fuck you." You know what I'm saying?
And then he came running back to the culture when he got caught up fucking with them white bitches.
He run back to the culture.
Yeah,
nigga.
Yeah, he still didn't care. He ain't pulling no OJ. He was like, no, I'm still.
Yeah, Tiger, he never been on no, and even recent, they was asking him about Trump. They like, damn, like how you feel about Trump? You know what I'm saying? With all the racial shit going on, like, is that your friend? Like, he like, yeah, we didn't play golf, like, and he just say he pretty much did the cop out. Like, I respect the
office.
Yeah, I respect the office. Like,
Blake,
that is our president.
A foul nigga.
Hey. I ain't gonna lie.
A foul nigga,
lie.
just like Alex.
Niggas gonna hate me for this.
Alex is a foul nigga.
Response. I thought it was a reasonable
See,
response.
Alex is a foul nigga.
So
He don't wash his hands after he piss. He's a foul nigga, man.
whatever,
I do sometimes feel like Tiger Woods gets a hard rep because he just doesn't like. But okay, I feel like he gets a hard rep because he just toast the line. He doesn't lean one way or the other. He's just like, look, I play golf.
Yeah,
like,
that's all he trying to do.
None of this.
He not
gonna
no.
pay me like the black guy.
He ain't no activist. He not going hard for black rights out here or anything like that, or trying to break down these black barriers.
Should he though?
Like,
Should he?
That was gonna be my question. How do y'all feel about people like that?
All black people feel like, if you black, and especially if you're black and successful, then you need to be giving back to the black community. Now, I do think that it's a big plus to do that. And, Tiger Woods has foundations. I'm not going to say that he don't help the black community, but it's like he's not like an advocate for just like black issues, which I don't feel like, you necessarily have to be. Like, as a person, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. There's plenty niggas out here that ain't doing shit for black people. Like, and I'm not going to hold that against you. You trying to do you trying to get your life on track, and I'm not going to hold that against you. You know what I'm saying?
I feel a certain way. Like when you coming up, yeah, I agree. Like, handle your business, focus on your career, get it together.
Established.
But once you reach a certain platform, and Tiger is different because I don't
Superstar, bro.
I don't hold Tiger to the same standard because I don't think Tiger's success is solely from the support of black people. Like I think Tiger just dominated, and him and Michael's kind of the same way. I wish they supported people of color more, but I mean with both of them, they're not people who I feel like their success is directly related to just their support from the African American community. But I do feel a way with people in like the public sector where your craft is just opinion. Like if black people like you and they've helped you get to, you know, a prominent place in your arena. Like I feel a way about Drake. Like Drake be bone quiet. Like don't say a word.
Look, man, God's plan. Then he just give out some money. What more
God's
you want from that
plan.
nigga?
I mean,
what more you want from that nigga?
Drake be silent.
Look,
Silent.
I've been moving corner, start no trouble with me, nigga.
Bro, I don't be right.
Now Drake, you know, Drake, you know, then he just give out some scholarship money. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, to like the University of Miami.
You know, I mean, he
Not
doing
FAMU.
he doing what he can, man.
They said, "Oh man, Drake out on the FAMU jersey." Shout out to Drake. He said, "No. This is DeMarcus Cousins high school jersey."
No.
You gotta try to relax. I'm like, bro,
Let me
Drake.
clear
Relax.
I'm like, Drake, bro, you got just do something, bro. Like it's just always with Drake. I feel like he exploits black people. I don't feel like
FAMU jersey.
I just don't feel like he ever, you know, just goes out there on that limb. And I get like you are that big of a star, you don't want to risk it, but bro,
you too big at that point, bro. You too big to fail. And this is my take on it. I think when you reach a certain level in uncharted territory, although we all have personal, we all have personal responsibility, whether we choose to say, hey, I want to be a spokesman for, a race that partly or fully represents me or not. But I think when you break barriers in ways that has not been done before, you have an obligation, because with great success comes great responsibility. And I think with people like Tiger, you do a disservice when you don't utilize or take ownership of the responsibility. It's just like with tennis, right? We give a damn about tennis in America because of Venus and Serena.
You mean black people?
No.
Oh, you mean just
people
in general?
People in general,
I would
because
disagree.
No, because people in general, especially let's just take America, right? Mm-hmm. People in America care about tennis because of Venus and Serena, because before Venus and Serena, there were no Americans that were dominating or even relevant in tennis. Period.
Not to the effect of Serena and Venus.
Exactly. So that's my point. Yeah. When you reach the pinnacle, the height of your sport, like if you look at tennis as a whole, the draw to tennis is Serena Williams. Because Rafael Nadal has issues.
He the truth though.
Truth, but
I think he's number one in the world too.
He has health issues, right?
He does.
So the most dominant athlete for the last 10, 15 years in this particular sport is Serena Williams. So from an American standpoint, when you have an American dominating a worldwide sport, she has a responsibility to do some of the things and say some of the things and speak on some of the things that she speaks on. Tiger Woods, because that's a predominantly white sport.
Correct.
Right? Tiger Woods is in probably the most predominantly white sport, the most traditionally white sport, and he's a person of color. So when you make a decision to not speak out against certain things or to remain quiet on certain subjects, it's as if you're completely negating that responsibility. And I think people like when we lump Tiger in with the Michael Jordans and the Charles Barkleys of the world, I don't think it's a fair comparison, because you gotta put him in with the Bill Russells and the Jackie Robinsons, because that's what he is. He broke through a predominantly white sport as a person of color. So when people of color look at you, they don't look at you like you Michael Jordan. They don't look at you like you Charles Barkley. They don't look at you like Allen. They look at you like you Jackie Robinson and Bill Russell. And whether it's right or wrong, I think with great success comes great responsibility. And you have to understand that you have an obligation to do that. Now, whether you choose to do it is completely personal. But I think we would be remiss if we did not say that niggas felt some type of, like when Tiger came out and said, "No, I'm not black, I am biracial." Niggas felt some type of way.
Why?
Because,
I don't know.
But you don't know why niggas felt the type of way?
No, I don't. Because the nigga biracial. I don't know what else.
Niggas felt the type of way because if Tiger Woods was pulled over, or if Tiger Woods was in the same situation that Clifford Harris was in when he was trying to get into his gated community, he was stopped by police officers. They don't see Tiger Woods as biracial. They see Tiger Woods as a black man. So if Tiger Woods gets pulled over by the police, the same experience that you have, whether you see him as a black man or not, that same experience is going to be afforded to him. And I think people get to a certain point where they either realize and embrace the situation and the predicament that they are in, or a lot of the times they get blindfolded to the things that people tell them. And I think Tiger is a prime example. Before all that shit came up with his sex addiction and him cheating on his wife and all that shit, Tiger was America's darling. You know, he was the headliner in golf. He was chasing Phil. No, he was chasing Jack Nicklaus. And, you know, everybody just knew Tiger was the best thing to happen to golf. When Tiger's not doing well in golf from a mainstream sports situation goes, is shit. Don't nobody give a fuck about golf.
True.
So he controls the pulse of the relevancy of this entire sport in America. I don't know about worldwide, and correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, but
I mean, you know, Tiger is, I would say, the biggest golfer in the world. I mean, obviously there's a lot of, you know, European players that are popular, you know, i.e. Rory McIlroy. But, you know, he does control it because the PGA Tour, because there's a lot of European players. I mean, there is a European tour, but a lot of them play many events that's on the PGA. I mean, that's the biggest one.
Because that's what the draw is.
Correct,
so it's like when you are the draw, I feel like when you're a person of color, people of color look to you as a beacon of hope. And it's like a slap in the face when you come out and say, "Oh, I'm not black, I'm biracial." Then it's like, okay, cool. So now when you know, got the Bambi legs on the damn video, when you got pulled over for some bullshit, now all of a sudden you're in a fucked up situation, and you realize, and you're put in a situation where you now have to come to terms with the fact of, as biracial as you feel you are, and as biracial as Alex may think you are, and as biracial as you may very well damn be.
Yeah, because you are.
People don't view you as biracial. People view you as a black man.
So what you want the nigga to say? Like, do you want niggas to be like, "Yo, like, Tiger, would you consider yourself black?" Do you want him to be like, "Well, you know, technically I am biracial, but, you know, since I live in America and since I have dark skin, you know, people are going to view me as black. So to answer your question, I guess I'm black."
No, I want what I want from Tiger Woods is for him to acknowledge the fact of, it's just like LeBron James, right? When LeBron James had that shit spray painted at his house, he said he set his children down and reminded them that no matter how much money you have, no matter what you do for people, no matter how much change you bring, no matter how much you can impact an entire country, let alone the world, certain people are going to look at you as exactly what you are. And that's a black person who they consider less than. And Tiger Woods, regardless of whether he has a biracial background, whether his mother is black or white, Tiger Woods looks like a black man. I know fully black people who look more white and more biracial than Tiger Woods.
Hey, but I'm gonna go ahead and keep it 100 with you. Tiger Woods is one of the few niggas that I think in this world who is never, it's like, you know, we talk about, like you just said, like, in most instances, like, no matter what, if you look black, like, you know, niggas gonna treat you like a nigga, like they gonna treat you black. Tiger, bro, to me, he transcend all that shit. Like, this nigga is.
They said the same thing about OJ.
Hey, but OJ, see, the thing about,
I'm not black, I'm OJ.
The thing about OJ,
okay,
you know, and for the most part, like, I mean, that was true. Like he was a darling, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, once you
until he wasn't a darling anymore
for murder,
for murder.
Till you kill a white woman, nigga. I mean, you're not gonna be the darling.
That's
no
cool,
more.
but bruh, if you let's be very honest, right? let's be very real. That shit with Tiger Woods and cheating on his wife. When did that shit happen? Like 6-7 years ago.
Like 09.
Cool. So we talking almost a decade ago that shit happened.
Correct.
Folks are just now within the last 3 years getting back on the Tiger Woods train.
I mean, I would disagree.
The Tiger Woods cheerleading train.
I would disagree.
That's cool because you have a whole, you have a whole separate intelligence in the golf community. What I'm talking is mainstream media. Mainstream media was like, fuck Tiger Woods.
I think it's because he's been hurt. I think it's because he's been hurt.
Yeah, the only reason this nigga been out the limelight is because the nigga got hurt. Like all the shit went down. It was bad. He came with the apology press conference. Nike was like, shit, we rolling with you. We got the ads coming right after the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, with your dad voice, he passed. Got your dad voice.
Didn't Phil Mickelson get hurt at some point? What wasn't he hurt? Because
I wouldn't know.
I distinctly remember that nigga having a fucking what's that shit? An Icy Hot commercial. And a Dr. Scholl's commercial because this nigga was injured on the tour and this nigga got endorsements because he was hurt and he had stopped playing for like 2 years. This nigga was still in the damn limelight. So it's like, you telling me Tiger Woods, the biggest golfer, this person who keeps golf in our minds and in our hearts and make us care about why the fuck they got a golf segment in the top 10 on ESPN. He gets hurt and has this scandal with his wife, and now all of a sudden, we kind of don't give a damn about Tiger. We just like shit. I think Tiger's done. But this white man can have injuries and not perform and not go out there and play and gotta leave early and all this other shit. My nigga is still getting commercials. My nigga is still out here. Pub in Lincoln.
I mean, wait. Let's take a step back though. So in general, do you feel like celebrities have to represent their audiences on like a social stage? Do you feel like that should be a requirement of them? Because I feel that way about Kevin Hart. I feel like he doesn't. And then I was kind of annoyed that he kind of played the black card with his little riff with Cat Williams recently. And I was just like, you don't never stand on no platform for us normally. Like, I don't ever hear you say nothing about us.
Question. And I don't want to divert the conversation.
But you about to. Already know.
How do you feel about what he had to say with that, with everything that is going on between he and Cat Williams?
I generally agreed with Cat Williams, but I just thought it was kind of corny for him to place that, like, I'm a black man out here trying to give black folks opportunity. And it's like, you be in all these movies with white folks and you don't be like, really just be out here championing black people. But I mean, you can't argue for, he's doing a movie obviously with Cat Williams, he's producing it. I mean, with Tiffany Haddish, and he's producing it. It's a very fair point. And I mean, I really wasn't really here for what he was saying about himself, actually. But what he was saying about Cat and Mike Epps and about them, like, you both had opportunities and you guys botched it. And I, had the discipline to not do that. And even though you may be funnier or you may feel like you're funnier than me, I'm the person who was responsible enough to keep my priorities in check and get the job done and get this money. And now I'm trying to, pass that on to the next person and help pull them up. Don't be hating on me because, you couldn't do that. And I mean, I don't understand how you can argue against that. And I don't know the behind the scenes of Cat Williams or Mike Epps, but they both do appear high more times than not when I see them. So, I mean, it's a fair argument. But, I mean, in general, I just didn't think Cat, like, once it got to the point where people were, like, fact-checking what Cat Williams was saying, it was just like, this is stupid. Like, there's like, you're lying. You're just telling lies.
I said I had 5 more specials than Eddie Murphy, 3 more than. I'm like, damn, is this true? Niggas in the room like, is this true?
Facts don't matter. Facts.
He said, I own all of the rights.
All of my rights. It's the highest grossing special thanks to Atlanta.
Bro,
23 million.
You Google those credits and like he doesn't even own a production company. Is what
Kevin Hart said all that shit was a lie. He's like, the niggas lied. Like, none of it was
But
true.
see, what's crazy is niggas went and fact checked what Kevin Hart was saying. It was like that nigga was lying too. So it's like I was like, damn. So who the fuck we supposed to
what did
believe?
they say Kevin Hart was lying about?
About where he ranks all time and the number of specials that he's done. His tickets, his gross ticket sales, shit like that.
I mean, I'm more inclined to believe Kevin Hart.
Exactly.
Because he doesn't have anything else. Like, he's like, I can stand on my numbers and we see them. He does arenas. Just like if he's saying he doesn't do those numbers, how is Cat Williams doing those numbers?
I mean, we know what Kevin Hart do. We know this nigga, selling out shows at a ridiculous rate, a ridiculous amount of tickets. And it's like to hear Cat Williams talk about how, he's possibly doing more than Kevin, got more specials and making more money. I mean, when he brought up he said the 15th consecutive
year
100 city tour, 15th. It's like, bruh. No, like there is no way. There is no way. Like that is improbable and most likely
Facts
impossible.
don't matter.
Fake news.
Facts do not matter.
Fake news. Like my boy say.
Because that is your boy.
My boy. My boy.
My boy.
Boy.
Oh, you're just not even gonna clean it up. I thought so.
No,
that's my guy.
No,
That's
he
my
just
guy,
let
man.
that shit cook.
Shout out Donald, man.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah,
not Glover.
No, definitely not Glover.
No. Can we? Because I didn't get a chance to really just go off on this nigga, Donald Glover, bro.
Why are you going off on Donald Glover?
Why the fuck do we sit up here and act like this nigga is Hype Williams?
Wait, what do you mean?
Like Donald Glover can drop a video, right? And there'll be 76 think pieces on that shit the next day, and nobody knows what the hell is even going on.
I mean, they be hard though.
They be hard, but we not just finna sit up here and act like this nigga made belly. Like,
I'm not gonna hold you. I don't know. Now I can't name you. I don't know if I've ever seen a Donald Glover music video before This Is America. Oh wait, I've seen the one where him and Chance are surfing. But outside of that,
with the iconic gif where they sitting on the car.
Yeah. Well, so ignoring that and just talking about the more recent stuff with This Is America, and then what's the other one with the kid? Everybody in hip hop and like kids.
What's that?
No clue what the song's called.
You just asked me about it because I hadn't watched it.
Anyway, these past two videos been hard.
I'm off the Uncle Nearest because I ain't even, you feel me?
You sleep on.
I'm 2 cups in because
on Childish Gambino. He been hard with these videos.
I mean, this is my thing, bro. As with most things that happen within the culture, we don't take into account that we can appreciate some shit for what it is and just leave it at that. Like, my nigga shouldn't be getting no Video Vanguard award for shit. Like, my nigga got 2, like you just said, bro. Before This Is America, you had never seen a fucking video from this nigga. Like, so why are we seeing
some hard videos?
He has 2 hard videos, bro. Missy Elliott has 6 and don't have a Vanguard award.
Missy Elliott got more than 6 hard videos.
Like, exactly. So that is
more than 2.
So that's my point.
Also, he don't have a Vanguard award.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, bro.
I was like, did he really win that?
In theory, what we sit up here and talk, because, like, was it last episode? I think last episode we talked about.
We was just talking about his BET
like
nomination.
the BET nominations.
What was he
bro.
nominated for?
He is nominated for Lyricist of the Year.
Wait. Hold on, let's backtrack. Are we talking the BET Hip Hop Awards?
Yes.
Hip Hop Awards.
Okay, I mean,
Lyricist of the Year, Blake.
All right.
Lyricist.
I can't bring myself to get upset about the BET Hip Hop Awards. I think the jig is up. I think we just know
the jig is up.
I think we just know they want to do like a million ciphers. And they have to have people get on stage and accept awards. So they're just picking like, this person might come, so we're gonna nominate him for everything. Like I don't think anybody's sitting there and is like, you know what? I really felt the lyrical,
Childish killed this.
Yeah, I don't think
Killed
anybody's
this.
really doing that.
This is America.
Yeah, I'm not getting upset.
My
I don't
nigga.
even know. I don't even know anybody who watches the awards. I just wait for the.
The tweet.
Yeah,
we watch it as a family.
No,
On
no,
Twitter.
I don't even wait for that. I just want to see the videos of the ciphers,
True.
and I'm ignoring half of them. It's just got to be the right cipher.
Hey, lately been kind of slow.
Yeah, I don't know who they'll be able to get this year. That I
It
would
used to
care
be
about.
hard. You know, they get the whole.
Oh, you know
clique
Eminem
together.
coming with part
I
3 for the
don't wanna hear
MGK
that
shit.
I get
MGK
so insulted.
shit.
I get so insulted and upset every time somebody sends me an Eminem song. Or
I saw a
Eminem
think piece the
reference.
other day about him potentially being, not potentially, but them saying that he is coming in and trying to impact the culture the same way that they do industry plants, because the irony in that his response to MGK was the biggest YouTube debut of any.
Bro, I do not care.
Bro,
There's
y'all know-
nothing
nobody
like-
in the culture care about Eminem, bro.
Outside of him probably dying, there's nothing.
Oh wow!
There's no. Realistically,
I
This number
agree,
line, this
but
not- this nothing but
outside of
fact
him
right here,
dying,
so,
there's no news headline I see about Eminem, and I'm like, oh, I have to hear this.
yeah. It's just I'm sorry.
Marshall
man.
don't do it for you.
Bro,
Huh?
in 2018,
He
bro, I
does
don't
not
need
tickle
that.
Blake's fancy.
I don't need that at all, bro. Like,
Have you heard the Eminem song in 2018? No, and I'm assuming
bro, I'm not clicking it.
it's a
Bro,
rap.
Pangay floods my inboxes every time Eminem
Hey, can we
drops.
take a second and just acknowledge how trash Pengay is?
So for the listeners that don't know,
Man,
Pangay
this is
a
Nate.
friend of the show, and he will definitely be a
Blake, not
guest on
me.
here at some point. But Pangay has made 2 music recommendations for me in the past, I guess, 6 weeks.
And they involved Eminem. One of them involved Eminem.
So the first
but
one's
didn't.
Eminem, which is respectable. If that's what you like, it's just not for me.
Nah, that ain't it, Chief.
So now this is the one where I've blocked him in my phone, all social medias, group me, all. He was like, bro, this new Bad Barbie. And I didn't know who that was.
Nah,
the
you
Catch
ain't
Me
talking about-
Outside
you
girl.
ain't talking about the Dr. Phil girl.
Bro, why would you send me that? Like,
Hey, that bad Barbie though.
as 2 grown men who I respect, and I think you're decent young men. Like, I just would never. I feel like that's insulting to send it to you. Like,
Yo,
I can't call myself a friend and be like, yeah, check this out.
check out this bad baby.
Bro,
Hey.
Nah,
he had to
cuz
get blocked.
You know she fucking with Trippie Red. Another young nigga.
I'm not. Nah.
Is he sick? Like, what's his thing? Why does he look like that?
That's just how that nigga look,
You just
bro.
have to speak with his parents, bro. I don't know what else to tell you.
There's no thing, like nothing.
I think he just
Nothing
facially
noted, man. You
challenged.
just an asshole.
I'm
Like-
dead serious.
My nigga is dead
I'm
You're
dead
ass.
serious.
you're just a dick.
My
That's
nigga is
all.
just
He's perfectly fine.
aesthetically
You just-
I'm
handicapped.
gonna Google this after the show. I
He's
know for a fact there's
I
something
believe
wrong.
he's just aesthetically
You
handicapped.
just mean, bro. You just a mean person.
He
That's
might
all.
have a slight
He
touch of
regular.
I
eczema.
guarantee y'all this. We're gonna look into it. I guarantee.
He may have eczema, bro, or he just may
It's
be
not
ashy.
I don't think it's that.
He might just be ashy a little bit.
It's
fool.
not.
Man, this is Blake and Nate. I would never be disrespectful.
My nigga, you
to
are
him.
a Trump supporter, so you just gonna have to just
You
get
know,
all
like,
the way
a
out
lot of
the window.
listeners might not be aware that you're still good with that.
No, I guess. Okay, so
They
I'm
don't
gonna-
like.
I'm
They
like,
don't.
you should
They
probably
don't
say
know
something.
you.
I'm gonna go
for
ahead.
real.
I'm gonna go ahead and give a little clarity for niggas who don't know who I am.
He's finna double down.
Who I am.
I've seen this before.
Oh, I love to double down on something like they be like, yo, I know he gonna clean it up. No, nigga, I'm
No,
gonna double
fuck no.
down.
He's
on
gonna
it.
double down.
Nah, but shout out to the After5ive Podcast. If you're a regular listener, which I'm assuming most of you are not, niggas like to pay me out as a Trump supporter. Really, I'm just somebody who Nate would call me an apologist, a Trump apologist. But, I'm just, like we said earlier, I play both sides. So, I like to hear both sides. So if niggas want to call me a Trump supporter, it's whatever. I mean, the election happened. I put in a vote. It was not for Donald Trump. So that's fact. But, Trump, to me, he not as bad as they make him out to be. And I mean, he not good at all. He not good, but he not as bad as they make him out to be. That's all it is. So shout out Trump, man.
Out here, how hard that was
I'm
to
gonna leave
just
that
get
alone.
through.
I'm just gonna let you live on that island by yourself.
It is what it is,
He's
man.
a foul nigga.
Nah, niggas know what it is, man. We can have any type of conversation. I'm always reasonable when speaking about Trump. To me.
Yeah, you got it on that Trump.
To me,
I'm cool on Trump.
I'm just not just gonna be on just like on some like, yo, like whatever this nigga do, fuck that nigga. I mean, the nigga, I mean, he done some fucked up shit, but like, I'm still got my eyes open for the shit he doing because, I mean, the nigga's still in office. So like, he still, I still be hoping that he gonna make, some shit that do go right for niggas.
What has he done that you mess with thus far?
What has he done? I can't tell you something he's done that I fuck with.
Okay.
But I really can't tell you shit that he's done that I don't fuck with.
Yeah, okay. So the drink rating for
it's your boy AC, man. Realest nigga, realest flow.
He said, I really can't tell you anything. Oh, okay.
I mean, it's like, I'm just talking about like policy.
Okay.
Like,
okay,
obviously,
okay.
It's like there's shit that's obvious that I don't even have to speak on. I mean, clearly this nigga is just awful. I mean, this nigga should not be the president of the United States. I don't know what else to say. But really, I mean, like, what type of shit does he really put into effect that I'm just like, damn, I really did not fuck with that. I can't give you one.
How'd you feel? Well, I guess the kids wouldn't just on him. That was being done before.
Yeah, and because Nate had brought that up. But yeah, I think that that's something that's kind of been going on, but it's just kind of being highlighted with Trump.
Because he's a foul nigga.
Trump is a foul nigga. At least he definitely speak foully. Like he definitely don't speak presidential at all.
You seem conflicted. Like, do you?
No, like I said, I'm gonna play both sides as nigga. I don't know what else to say. I'm not just gonna completely shit on the nigga, but I mean he is also bad.
Cause you was a foul nigga.
I don't know what else to say. Like it don't have to just be, completely fucked the nigga.
I mean,
I'm for sure gonna chop part of that up and use it as the promo. Like,
I mean,
that's gonna be my first clickbait.
As long as it does not misrepresent what I'm saying,
it's going to completely misrepresent what you're saying.
I mean,
bro, you don't even know what you represent when you say what you say.
I do know. Everything I say is how I feel. I mean, that's just real shit.
Yeah, I can't wait to have my first clickbait piece. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
I don't know what else to say.
I mean, it's definitely going to be certain. Like I can't name anything bad that Trump has done. It's going to be something centered around.
Yeah, whatever, man. whatever.
It's definitely going to be
so you one of them niggas.
Oh, yeah, we like shade room.
Nigga, we not going to get no fucking plays, bro. We ain't going to get no subscriptions off this shit. Like, goddamn, this is not on brand. We specifically had a conversation before we started recording. Look, Alex, you got to stay on brand. You got to stay on brand. Like this is a crossover opportunity for us.
Brand.
And then you get on here with this damn Trump praising apologist shit, and now you feel.
See, this would be wrong. You using words like praise, like, because this what niggas do. Niggas be like, if you don't completely shit on Trump, nigga, you love that nigga. Like, damn, no, I don't. Like, I don't love the nigga. It's like, but I'm just not gonna be like, yo, Trump is like, I don't know. Like, to me, he just a white dude, bro. Like, I don't know. Like, he a white dude. He act like white dudes act. You know what I'm saying? Like, alone. Like, but he just like way more
he just
like
that in front of everybody.
Like, yeah, he just way more upfront about the shit. But
he just just
like plenty.
So basically, you telling me Trump just keeps it a buck? That's what you telling me.
I mean, by definition of keeping it a buck, as in, just being like, like unapologetically too honest sometimes. I mean, yeah.
If you had just said yes when he asked that was going to be clickbait part 2.
I ain't going to let you. I mean, I've said enough. So, as of now, I'm just going to speak fully and directly about Trump.
Because that's your guy. I did not
vote for the nigga. I don't know what else to say. I didn't vote for the nigga. Yo, Brittany been cutting her fucking eyes at me for the past, like, on God, for the past, like, 5 minutes. Like, nigga, you ain't shit.
Nah. Wait, when Kim said you're fucking up the money.
Like, she like, dog, I cannot believe I'm gonna marry this nigga. Nah, but, niggas know I'm keeping it on it, man. Whatever, man.
I don't think they do.
Niggas don't know, but it's all good though. Like I'll know for them. You feel me? I'll know for them. Cause they just ain't reached that level yet where they, they can like think for themselves. This is what really Kanye trying to tell y'all. Don't be brainwashed, bro. Think for yourself.
What is it? Free thought?
Free thought, man.
Tiger blood.
Hey, shout out Tiger, man. This nigga is balling right now. He about to win this tournament. It's going to be his first win. I already know it.
Don't we do this every Saturday, though?
We talking about two different Tigers.
Yeah, I'm talking about Tiger Woods.
I'm talking about real Tiger blood, but continue.
I don't know nothing
Continue.
about that real Tiger
Yeah.
blood. But Tiger Woods, I feel like he's been doing this every other week now, where he just be warming up,
Hey, but
and then he comes in like third.
this tournament though, it's like no other, bro. He balling. So, he been leading after every round, type shit. So, shout out to him, man.
That's your man's.
I fuck with Tiger, man. I mean, strictly from like a sports thing. It ain't like I know he's not my friend.
Not
You know what I'm
black,
saying?
not black man to black man.
No, I mean it's like yo, this
I
nigga,
understand.
like this nigga cold.
I went to school with niggas like you. I get what you're saying.
I mean, he cold. It ain't because it is a plus because he.
Nah, don't try to clean it up. It's cool. We just
But
gonna
he
let that
cold.
rock. Yeah.
I fuck with him.
Shout out Tiger, man.
Shout out T Dub, man.
Black athletes.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and start the drink rating now. For Uncle Nearest, I'm a huge Uncle Nearest fan, so I love that part of it. But the mix of it kind of you can't really get the Uncle Nearest flavor anymore. It just it doesn't have that kick anymore.
Get lost in the other shit.
Yeah.
That
So
blue shit.
I think I'm gonna give it a solid 7.5 still though, because I do still mess with it. I don't know when I'm gonna find a bad drink though, because everything's still been high. But I'm gonna give it a solid 7.5. So I fuck with it, Nate.
Out of 10.
Yeah, out of 10.
That's average.
Nah, they got an 8.
You can take that.
It was great.
But I really appreciate y'all coming.
Yo,
through.
MAGA hat wearing ass up food.
So you trying to check?
Finna give man
I'm
food.
finna get Siri on your ass.
That's fine. Food. Little chin strap ass.
Damn fool. Bro, I don't even want to go in because like we got a podcast and shit. And I need our friendship to stay intact. I don't want you to quit and shit.
Freaky nigga ass.
How freaky? Long face ass nigga. Quit talking to me.
You're not being professional.
But yeah, I appreciate y'all coming through, doing the podcast. Did y'all want to go ahead and plug After 5?
Sure, man. Also, we appreciate you even inviting us to do this. I mean, it's a pleasure. But yeah, man, be sure to tune in to me and Nate's podcast, After 5. We drop every Friday. You can find us on SoundCloud, on Apple Podcasts. What's the other available? Stitcher,
Google Play.
Yeah, if you really down with us, man, you'll fuck with us. After 5. That's after the number 5.
IVE.
So the 5 is in place of the F in 5. But yeah, man. I always appreciate the opportunity. It was great speaking with you, Nate. Did you have some words?
Yeah, man. I just shout out to you, Blake. So many people say that they want to do a podcast, and very rarely do they follow through. So the fact that you are following through in the way in which you're following through, like listen to the first episode, shit was fire. So shout out. What's your friend's name?
Darius and Woods were on the first episode.
So shout out to them, man. Very
Jay Wood, bro. I got a funny ass Jay Wood story. I need to see that nigga again so I can tell him again.
Jay Wood stories,
bruh. When I heard this shit, I tweeted and was like, bruh, listening to that shit made me think about all the conversations that me and Jay Woods had like back in the day, and I was like, damn, you don't realize how much you take for granted certain relationships and interactions that you have until you hear them again, and you like, damn, bruh, like I missed that shit. Yep. But it was cool to hear it in that way. So shout out to you, Blake, and like Alex said, thank you for having us on in this format, because it's really cool to be in a structured format, because
and also me and Nate ain't been in person doing a podcast
in
like
a
long ass time,
in like 3-4 months.
In a long time.
So
bro.
this has been a completely, you feel me?
Like I ain't seen this nigga in a minute. Actually.
Yeah, because like when I come to Memphis, bro, this nigga will not text me back. He will not text me back. And then this nigga was in Chattanooga, bro. He was in Chattanooga.
I did think y'all recorded recently when he came to Chattanooga.
He was in Chat down the street from where I live currently.
I wasn't in Chat for Nate this.
And this nigga was like,
some other shit.
Hey, bro, let me hit you back when I get back to the M. I was like, boy, I hate niggas, bro. like
man.
niggas, and then hit me like Monday, like, yo, so you got the topics and shit, like,
Strictly business,
bruh. Fuck this nigga, man.
I got my other shit.
But yeah, bro, check us out, bro.
Man, After 5, man.
After 5, man. We 28 episodes in.
You know, check me out, man. I do this rap shit, man. AC901, man. SoundCloud, man. Find me at Twitter, man. At Instagram, AC901. That's ACEE901.
This nigga is not. He's not even a social media nigga, and he is just doing these plugs like he just out here like this.
But
bro.
hey, but follow me though. Tag me in it,
like follow him, bro.
Did you want to plug your social media?
My shit is
fuck that nigga shit, dog. At AC, his shit is at AC. No,
my shit is at your favorite G. You feel me?
What kind of shit is that? You need to change this shit.
Nigga, you can't even own your name. You had to add an extra unnecessary
I got my city on that. First of all, that's been my name, and I got my city on that motherfucker.
Lil E nigga. But yeah, man, check us out. After5 Podcast, your after work vibe. Rate us on
5 stars.
5 stars, please. 5 stars, please.
Even if you don't think it's 5 stars, just go ahead and go 5 stars.
We appreciate comments and recommendations and all that good shit, man. But me and the homies, man, it's good to definitely be here and have this conversation, be able to have this dialogue with you. Hopefully, we'll be able to do another podcast crossover and have you on After5. So looking forward to it.
It's gonna be extra. That's when Blake gotta be extra. Like it's like you
I'm
know,
never extra.
Like when you the guest, nigga, especially on our show, you can say whatever you want to say. I encourage it.
Well, now I really appreciate y'all coming through, and it'll be dope to have y'all on here, and I can't wait for everybody to hear it. I know a lot of people are gonna be excited for it. I did talk to Scoob about it, and I know he was like hyped for it. And as far as the podcast, please keep reviewing, rating, and sharing it, and following us on social media at _me and the homies. We appreciate your support. Your support for the first episode was crazy. I got so much feedback. I talked to people I haven't talked to since like 2009. It was crazy, but no, I'm really excited, and I thank everybody for the support. I thank y'all again for coming through.
No doubt, man.
Yeah, and I gotta apologize because I'm for sure gonna miss birthdays every week, but follow us on social media and send in your birthday shout outs for your week, and we'll definitely try and get to you. You have any birthday shout outs?
Yeah, man. Shout out to my fiance Brittany, man.
First lady of the
After5. She turned 25 this week, man.
It's lit.
So yeah, man. Shout out to her.
All right, I also got to shout out Jay Woods. He was on our first episode. Shout out to Kanisha. Shout out to Chicago. Shout out to Lily, Meg. Shout out to Dance. And also birthday shout outs to 2 people who've passed away. We got Brian Cook and Ernest. All right, thanks, y'all.
Happy birthday, homie. For me? Yeah. Happy birthday, homeboy. For me? Yeah. Make a wish.
Some older niggas got bedtimes and shit. Old dad niggas.
You understand that you are right there with him.
Oh no, I'm not.
He does not. He does not embrace.
Right
no, I'm not.
The fact that he is
I'm
no longer a
What are you,
spring
2 years
chicken.
older than him?
I'm living my best life.
How old are you, Alex? You 25?
I'm young as fuck. Don't add that year on me, nigga. Don't add that. My girl 25, nigga. Old ass. No, man, I just turned 24.
Okay, I'm 3 years older than you. You
Old as
understand?
fuck.
There's no like.
And I'm
Old
2
as
years
fuck.
older than you.
Old
What
as
do you-
fuck.
what do
Old
you
as
think-
fuck.